now. And we're up.
All right. Get that copyright straight.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to Metalheads Unite once again. So, of course, if you've been around a while, you know it's pretty much the same time, same channel.
Mm-hmm. Same channels.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We got a lot of channels going on, but yeah. Say hello to everybody in Buffalo who's sitting under 6 feet of snow right now.
That's crazy. I seen the stadium, the picture of the Buffalo Bills Stadium. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was messing around on TikTok a little bit this morning, and there's so many people on there who are just like taking video of like their houses in New York. And this one guy opened up his garage door, and it wasn't until the damn garage door got almost all the way open before you could see anything other than snow in his driveway.
Wow, that's crazy. Man. I guess they're not going anywhere for a while.
No, they aren't. It's a good thing the Bills got out and headed over to Detroit before all that shit hit, because they decided to move the football game to Detroit. So, which kind of makes sense. Because Buffalo plays Detroit on Thursday anyway. So,
yeah, I thought that was a home game for Buffalo, though. Was it not?
No, that's the Thanksgiving Day game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they just moved the Buffalo and Cleveland game over to Detroit for tomorrow, and then 4 days later Buffalo plays Detroit on Thanksgiving. So it's Buffalo's playing their next two games within the span of 4 days in Detroit. So
wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
So, yeah, I guess the logistics of it kind of made sense, considering, like I say, Buffalo was going to be in Detroit anyway. So, and
I feel bad.
Cleveland's not far from Detroit anyway.
I feel bad being a football fan, and I haven't like probably not watched 10 games all year. So,
well, it's just like I've only seen like one Michigan game all year. I've got like 7 of them on the DVR that I haven't watched yet.
I meant to ask you. I seen something about a guy. Was it Alexander? I think his last name was like Mahigny or something. I can't remember. You would probably know more than I would about hockey, but
McGillney.
Yeah, that's
Alexander
it.
McGillney.
I seen the stats on this guy, and it was like the whole thing was, why is he not in the Hall? And I seen all these stats. I'm like, God damn, why the fuck isn't he in the Hall? Like, holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's actually a very good question why he's not in the Hall of Fame, but
because there was they were showing people in the Hall that had less. Less stats than he did, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Hockey Hall of Fame isn't as bad about inducting people to be in there like some other Hall of Fame that we like to shit on all the time. But there's no Hall of Fame is perfect. But McGillney will definitely get there eventually. He absolutely will. With numbers like that, he'll absolutely get there. So.
Yeah. And they said he hadn't played in since 2009.
I don't remember when he retired, to be completely honest with you, because he never played. He never played for the Red Wings. He played for a few other teams, Vancouver, Buffalo, maybe another team or two. I can't remember exactly who all he played for, but he'll get there eventually. But
Welcome
yeah.
to Metalheads Unite, where you eat your hockey news first. So.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to Decibel Geek Podcast. I was a guest on that show last night. Had a good time there with Aaron and Chris over at Decibel Geek. If you want to check that show out, you can go back and see that replay over on Decibel Geek TV on YouTube there. So
yeah, I am gonna go check that out. I was out last night, so
yeah, it was pretty cool. We got a chance to talk about our show a little bit, and of course, me and Aaron being we met through wrestling, so that obviously came up. So
we gotta get him to come on our show and talk about wrestling.
I actually gave both of them open invitations. Anytime y'all guys want to come on, man, y'all just I said it'd be nice to get a third mind in on some of the things we talk about. So
yeah, absolutely. It never hurts to have guests on the show. Hint, hint, hint.
Yeah. Nothing hidden there, but
no.
But it was pretty cool. Like so he ordered Chris had ordered that Creatures of the Night box set. He had like the big deluxe edition of it or whatever, and it actually came to his door while we were doing a live stream. So he actually had to he did a live unboxing on the show.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And, man, that damn thing was loaded with stuff, dude. It was like, damn.
That was kind of a late delivery, don't you think?
Amazon,
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, because my stepson, he drives for Amazon, and sometimes he'll be out there making deliveries to like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about what time it came. I think it came about 8:30, something like that. So
damn.
It was almost to the end of the show. But yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was like seeing a live unboxing and stuff of that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that there would be like a big TikTok things like that for stuff like that, and kind of like the Pokemon, phase there. So.
Well, I mean, there might be. We just haven't seen them yet. Maybe they just haven't. Maybe they just haven't shown up on our algorithm yet. I don't know.
Well, that's true. All right, I guess we will get started on this thing today. So
Yeah.
Kick a kid off like always with a few birthdays here.
Yeah.
So, it was the 13th, right? I don't think I had anything for the 13th, so I couldn't remember. But
yeah, should technically be the
right 13th.
Yeah.
So 13th to the 19th, which I didn't have anything for the 13th. So
nobody was born on the 13th.
Yeah, all. Nobody. It's hard to believe.
Yep, nobody.
That's not true. So if anybody out there had a November 13th birthday, we were. Let's see. November 14th, we had Alec John Such, or Zooks, or however you pronounce his damn last name. I can't remember how they pronounced it, but something like that.
I always said Such. So I mean,
I did too, but I see it in parentheses, and the way they got it pronounced, it was like Zucks.
Oh, okay.
So, or maybe that was his real name, and he changed it to Such.
Maybe
that's what it is. Yeah, could be.
May have been.
He was the bassist for Bon. So I almost said Motley Crue. Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi from 83 to 94. He unfortunately passed away just earlier this year. So then we had Frankie Banali, of course, drummer for Quiet Riot. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2020. We had Joe Principe, bassist for Rise Against. November 15th, we had Steve Fossen, bass player for Heart from 73 to 82. And I know I'm going to get heat over this, but I don't give a shit. But Chad Kruger, vocalist and guitarist for Nickelback. Dave Kushner, guitarist for Velvet Revolver. November 16th, Chris Pittman. He was a Session and Torn musician, multi-talented musician. He was did stuff with Tool and Guns N' Roses. So, yeah, pretty good little resume there. We had Josh Silver, a keyboard player for Typo Negative, and then Christian Lorenz, keyboardist for Rammstein. Then we had November 17th, we had Paul Allender, guitarist for Cradle of Filth, and Richard Fortus, a guitarist for Guns N' Roses and Pale Divine. November 18th was our big day this week. So we had Herman Rarebell, drummer for Scorpions. Rudy Sarzo, bassist for Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne. I want to say he played for a few more bands than that, but that's the only two they have listed. And we had Janice Lynn. I'm going to try to pronounce her last name. Kuhneman, I think it was. Guitarist for Vixen, who unfortunately passed away in 2013. Then we had a guy named Kirk Hammett. I don't know if you ever heard of that guy or not, but he played for this little band called Metallica.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Then we had Johan Liva. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You know that better.
It's Johan Liva.
Liva, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Of course, he was vocalist for Arch Enemy at one time, and then Hearst as well. Not familiar with Hearst that well, but then we had Shagroth, vocalist for Dimmu Borgir, which I'm not. I've heard some of their stuff, but not a big fan. So, then we had Johnny Christ, bassist for Avenged Sevenfold. So, on a big day on the 18th. Everybody was born on the 18th. That's why nobody was born on the 13th.
Right, yeah, that's right. I was like, let's just postpone everything a few days.
Yeah,
just push it back.
We had November 19th, which is today, Matt Sorum, drummer for Guns N' Roses from 1990 to 97, and then Velvet Revolver from 02 to 08. And we had Justin Chancellor, bassist for Tool, and Keith Buckley, vocalist for Every Time I Die. So happy birthday to all of those. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. Happy birthday to them. And if anybody out there listening, of course, had a birthday, happy birthday to you as well. So
that's right. Happy birthday to all.
Yeah. All right, I guess we can kick into some news this week.
Yeah.
There was I didn't see a whole lot going on this week, but a little bit out there.
Yeah. There wasn't a ton, but unfortunately, again, we didn't make it through the week without a passing. So, leading off with that, over at metalinjection.net, we have Scott Dackruden, longtime guitar technician and photographer for Alice in Chains, as well as technician for Rob Zombie and Tool, has passed away after a short battle with stage 4 cancer. A GoFundMe launched earlier this month to help Dackruden, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, with his medical bills. Cites other fantastic accomplishments throughout his career, such as working in the studio with the aforementioned artists as well as Hailstorm. Dackruden worked in the music industry for 25 years, 14 of which were spent with Alice in Chains. We wish Dackruden's family and friends and family all the best at this time. Quote, "Goodbye, Scotty. Rest easy. I'm going to miss our adventures," said Alice in Chains bassist Mike Inez. "Thank you for being my brother and best friend for the last 14 years out on the trail. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet," end quote. Another quote. Quote, "You captured so many great moments over the years, my friend. This is the last one I snapped of you, having a beer and a laugh, playing a game of 4-ball with me and the fellas. Rest easy, my brother." That was from Jerry Cantrell. "So many great memories with you, Scotty," added Alice in Chains vocalist William Duvall, "but this is one of my favorites. Rottnest Island in your native Australia in 2013. The group of us bike riding to the perfect beach on the Indian Ocean, you swimming far out among the cliffs, beyond where any of us could see you, me being relieved when you made it back, then all of us getting together to make this photo. I wish we had more photos together. But you were usually the one behind the camera, capturing countless incredible moments. Your photos are the primary visual record of our band for the last 15 years. When I look back at just the images of yours that I have in my phone, literally thousands, all those shows, all those adventures, it is simply overwhelming. Our camp will never be the same. Your work, your love, kindness, and humor will live forever. You will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, brother," end quote. So definitely it doesn't say how old he was, but if the picture, that's
he didn't look very old at all.
So. No, the picture that's inset at the top of the story here doesn't look like he was that old at all. I mean, I wouldn't say he could have been any older than his early 50s. It doesn't look like it. But regardless, people taken way too soon. So definitely thoughts go out to Alice in Chains and all of the Dackruden family.
Yeah. So is that the only death that you found, or?
That was the only one that I came across.
Okay, because I came across. I know it's not metal, but I think it's an iconic video. So,
Okay.
singer Kimberly Herron, she was in the ZZ Top Legs video, passed away at 65. So,
Okay.
from breast cancer. So, and I didn't know this
Ah,
about her
sucks.
though. She was a former Playboy playmate too. She was Playmate of the Month in March of '81, and then she was in like a couple of movies: Romancing the Stone, Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop 2, and Roadhouse. Which those are pretty big movies. So I was like, man, she had a pretty good resume there. So
He was in Ghostbusters?
yeah, that's what I was like. Wow, really?
Huh. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, prayers go out to their family as well.
As
So
well. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, so like I said, I know it's not metal, but ZZ Top's an iconic band. Man, you gotta
Yeah, absolutely.
like I'd pay to see him. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a metalhead, there's some guilty pleasures, I guess there. But
Well, hell, there's really nothing to be guilty about when it comes to ZZ Top, man. They're a good
yeah,
hard rock band.
yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think about the time they came around and some of the songs they were playing back then. It's like, wow, that's they kind of. I mean, the thing is like I think people forget that some genre come from somewhere. I mean, it just didn't like pop up. So I mean, it was kind of
Right.
based off of something else. I mean, of course, we know
Yeah.
rock was based off of blues. So I mean, you had blues and then rock, and then of course, that rock led to harder rock, and then harder rock led to heavy metal. So I mean, it's kind of had a evolution there from the
Yeah.
sound. So
Yeah. It wasn't just like, yeah,
but
it
it's
wasn't.
you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it wasn't just one day in 1970. Black Sabbath
Yeah.
literally just like, hey, here's this thing called heavy metal, and
Mhm.
take it or leave it. It's just not how it happened. So
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you had Jimi Hendrix and them around back then. Which I mean, if you ever heard Jimmy play, he's not. He's definitely not. I guess he wasn't common for that era of music.
oh
So,
no,
so he was way ahead of his time.
he
So,
absolutely was. Yeah.
so it was like, I mean, I still listen to Jimmy now, man, because this is so amazing to hear. Those riffs. It's like, wow, that's crazy. But
Yeah. No one was doing that back then. That's for sure.
no, and I mean, of course, and too, you think about guitar players like that, and you're like, man, how great would they be right now with all of the technology and stuff they could be playing with? It's like they were already that badass then, so it's kind of like, wow, it's kind of scary to think about. But
Well, and especially in Hendrix's case, because he was only 27 when he passed away. I mean,
right,
he was. You talk about just scratching the surface of someone's talent. You had Hendrix and Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads was younger than Jimi Hendrix when he
right,
died. So I mean, hell,
right.
Randy Rhoads is what, 24, 25?
I think so. I think he was 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we've talked about it before, but still, the mark those two dudes left, and they were only in their mid-20s. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy. All right. So I'll head back over to my regular stories here. I just happened to see that on there, and I said I didn't know if you had that too or not.
Yeah,
so thought I would mention it. So
I'm glad you did. I'm actually kind of surprised I'd missed that one. I don't know how the hell I would have missed that one, but that's why we got two sets of eyes, though.
That's right. That's right. That was actually over at Loudwire where I seen that. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, so and then my first story is from Loudwire as well. So a Motley Crue shirt being sold by Crue's official website and by Hot Topic bears an extremely close resemblance to an Iron Maiden's iconic artwork for Number of the Beast. The devil caricature from the Number of the Beast appears to bear a striking resemblance to the devil character placed in the pentagram from Motley Crue's Shout Out the Devil album cover. There are noticeable similarities between the Motley Crue shirt and Iron Maiden's artwork from 40 years ago. The devil's pose is the same, as is the placement of the arms, legs, and tail, while the right hand is making the same puppet strings gesture as Number of the Beast. The pitchfork from the Maiden Devil has been replaced by an impaled skull on the Crue shirt, while the Crue Devil has been given fangs instead of normal human teeth. Even the musculature in the shoulders and left leg are identical, and of course the background smoke and the fire at the feet of the devil can both be found on the original Number of the Beast cover. Though there seem to be some minor adjustments, the devil characters are strikingly similar. The shirt, as of this posting, is featured on Motley Crue's website, official web store, A description reads, "The Motley Crue Shout at the Devil Vintage Pentagram Tee features an illustrated design complete with the iconic pentagram. The tee reads Shout at the Devil and is finished with the classic Motley Crue logo at the top. No mention of Iron Maiden is made, of course, but the shirt on Hot Topics posts out Motley Crue Shout at the Devil boyfriend girls t-shirt. Like Crue's website, no mention of Iron Maiden is made. Of course, it's unknown how the shirt design came to be or if Iron Maiden or the original artists were involved. But as the shirt is an officially licensed piece of merchandise, Motley Crue teams were almost certainly involved in approving the design. Loudwire has reached out to Motley Crue and Iron Maiden for comments on the similarities, but no response as of yet. So if there's any breaking news on that story, I would definitely pass that along because that's kind of you got two big name bands there, so it could get interesting and ugly real quick. So,
and if you, that's one of those things where if you see that shirt, you better go buy it.
Right? Yeah,
because I think you should. You should go. Yeah, you should go buy it. And I saw the pictures when you sent me the clip of that story. Mm-hmm. That's the same damn thing.
It is.
It's absolutely the same one.
They can say what they want to, but
yeah, this isn't like that story where Disney was accused of taking that one band's logo and altering it. No.
Right.
I mean, I'm not gonna make an accusation that it's something blatant, but I will say that looking at the picture, that's the same goddamn. That's the same devil. It absolutely is. There's no two ways about it.
Well, I mean, whoever probably designed the shirt, probably, took it from Iron Maiden's, thing and tweaked it and then try to pass it off just for, trying to make some extra money or something. And then the Motley Crue team may not have caught that. So
maybe, but that's I would definitely say that's the exact same thing. So just and like you said, it's officially licensed by Motley Crue's team or whatever. So you better Motley Crue's get ready to write a check. That's all I'm saying.
Say, see, got some explaining to do.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's probably one of those shirts. If you were to see it, you should buy it because it's probably not going to be around too long, especially now that this story is out. So. That would be my guess.
And I don't know if you caught that. I said Uzi, not Lucy. But... Oh my God.
All right. So speaking of breast cancer, we actually have some good news to report.
Yeah.
This was a story we reported on, not too long ago when the story first broke. But yesterday we got an update over at blabbermouth.net and the other sources. So, but Nightwish's Floor Jansen has revealed that she is cancer free after recently undergoing surgery to have a tumor removed following a breast cancer diagnosis. Earlier on Friday, November 18th, Floor took to her social media to write, quote, "Great news, I am cancer-free. The surgery took everything cancerous out and it hasn't spread. I'll get local radiation therapy in February to make sure everything stays out. I'm getting my energy back after the surgery and feel a huge relief to know it was successful. I'm not back to 100%, but I have no doubt the shows will give me the power push I need to rock with all of you on the upcoming European tour. Thank you for your amazing support and well wishes." So that's amazing news. So we're happy for her and her health first and foremost. But like she said in the story, she's super excited to get back out on the road. So happy for her primarily, and of course, happy for all of the other members of Nightwish and all of their fans, myself included. So yeah, some good news on the cancer front for a change. So which is nice.
Yeah, any good news on that front's always.
Oh hell yeah!
All right, so sticking with Loudwire, kind of brought this kind of a I don't want to say a continuation of a story, but it kind of ties in with a headphone story I did a while back. So
okay, I got you.
So this was over from Loudwire as well. So we get it. When your favorite song comes on, you want to play it loud, but how loud is too loud? A new study by BMJ Global Health has concluded that over 1 billion young people are at risk of hearing loss for listening to music too loudly. both on personal listening devices and at live music venues. The study considers young people, those between the ages of 12 and 34, and looked at the intensity and duration of their voluntary recreational noise exposure or their unsafe listening habits. Between 23.81% and 48.2% of young people engage in these habits, which can result into up to 1.35 billion people suffering from auditory issues such as transient or permanent tinnitus, changes in hearing, and hearing loss later in life. Music on PLDs is most often consumed through headphones at levels at high as 105 decibels, according to the report, which also further define loud entertainment venues as not only for concerts but bars and clubs as well. These environments tend to range from 104 to 112 decibels. Therefore, it is suggested that individuals practice safer listening habits, such as consuming around 85 decibels for up to 40 hours a week, in order to prevent potential damage to their hearing later on. It may be fun to blast music, but it won't be fun decades from now when you're struggling to hear as a result of the damage. It's as simple as turning down the volume on your listening device or wearing protective hearing equipment such as high fidelity earplugs. These earplugs can reduce noise up to 22 decibels without distorting the sound of the music, so you won't have to worry about your favorite band sounding muffled. Vibes actually makes a pair that are available over at Amazon. So if you're interested in getting some relief there you go. But we talked about this all the time. Like, yeah, you don't have to be, try to be a tough person to go around without. That's not. Kind of if you enjoy it that much, then you want to prolong it as much as possible. So,
yep.
I want to be the old 70-year-old getting, at the shows that everybody's tripping out off of because he's 70 years old and a Slipknot show or something. But
right, yeah.
I doubt Slipknot will be around them. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But I'm just
the point still stands. But right. And the funny thing is like you say, it's not about, it has nothing to do with being tough or whatever. Because I mean, you can be the toughest person in the world, but your ear, everyone's, the makeup of everyone's ear is the same thing. And if you screw that up, you're not getting it back. And all your favorite artists, if you pay attention, they're all wearing hearing protection. Every single one of them is wearing it. So it's not
because they wouldn't be able to perform for very long if they didn't. So.
Right. So it's not some test of, I was going to say masculinity, but not even masculinity, femininity, or anything. It's not a test of how tough you are, because you can't, it's not one of those things where, you can do like ear exercises to make your ears stronger, and you can't do it. You just can't. So, you listen to that. I mean, hell, Brian Johnson had to leave AC/DC for a while, so, these guys will pay the price for it. And the everyday person like you and I mean, they'll do the same thing, so you know me, the amount of concerts we've been to together, I have earplugs at every single one. So hell, even that little show I went to last night, I plugged through it. I'm not risking it. So
yeah, it's not worth the risk for sure. So
no. All right, I am going to go over to the PRP for. I'm going to put together like 3 stories in one here, and you pretty much know why, Jason, because obviously you got the preview of what we were going to do. So over at the PRP, Funko are rolling out numerous new music-related vinyl figures as part of their annual Papa-Palooza event. In addition to newly announced Dee Snider, Iron Maiden, the company have also revealed new figures for the late Ronnie James Dio and the returning Texan groove metal greats Pantera. You can keep an eye out for Dio pre-orders here, while the Pantera set, which captures the band's classic lineup in their vulgar display of power era, can be pre-saved here. And obviously, anywhere that says here is a hyperlink. So, all right. So you got, and I know you said you already ordered this one, but there's Pantera. And let's see, there's Ronnie James. And let's see. Like I say, I'm putting together a few here. So here is There's old D. Snyder himself. And then what was the other one? I know there was one more that I had an inset for. Yep. And then we have definitely not to be outdone. Where are the pictures? Okay, well, this pictures are a little smaller, but there is Master of Puppets, Metallica, and AC/DC. So there you go. So yeah, that basically knocks out 3 stories in one.
Yeah.
I wish they would have. I wish they kind of would have. I wish they kind of would have condensed them all into one story, but they didn't all pop up on the same day either. So it's like, well, screw it. I guess they're all going to get their own tab. So,
yeah.
But there's no reason to, the way we alternate news. There's no reason for me to keep
talk a lot of pops every other story.
Right. Yeah. So I just decided to go ahead and combine them all together. So yeah, all you collectibles out there, Jason, I know you included, there's more stuff for you to spend your disposable income on.
Yeah. Yeah. I was debating it, and I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm not gonna be left out in the cold this time. So
that's the thing. We've talked about it before. They don't make enough to keep up with.
Well, they didn't really say how many they made of those either. They didn't put a number in. Yeah, so I was just like, oh, well then I don't know how many they made. So, which was crazy because when I put mine in, I was already like, maybe it was some crazy number they gave me, and I was like, wow. I said, hell, I may still not get one. But so it was like I was already like 1,190 or something. I was like, God damn.
Wow. Okay.
So, so hopefully they make at least 1,500. So, but
yeah,
the Metallica, the Metallica one, I did find out it's only available on their website for some reason. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I was trying to find it. They kept saying it was at Walmart, but when I looked it up, it says not available at any Walmart close by here. So I don't know what Walmart. Maybe they're all in California. I don't know.
Probably.
But I did see where they said you could go to Metallica.com and order them. So
there you go.
I may look into that. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I do like how they're coming out with more of the complete sets for these bands.
Right. Yeah. I always like the album ones anyway, because those are pretty neat to see. Like and actually try to, make them up as like the album cover. So I think I even seen an Ozzy one where like the bat was bit off or some shit at one point, but I don't remember how far back that was. So they probably don't have any more of those.
I bet you they wouldn't. No,
you had to go to a store to. What's that one I always go to? There's a comic book store I always go to that has all that stuff, and you can see some pretty neat stuff in there. They've actually had some pretty odd stuff outside, like I've never seen before when I go in there and look. But I'm not paying that price for them. But
no kidding.
But I still think it's cool to see it. That's pretty cool. But anyway, so if I didn't get enough hate for calling out Chad Kruger's birthdays, let me go ahead and just start the hate mail rolling here from. But I think this is a story that was like it interests me because I always wondered this, and I'm like, so, it was kind of like I guess a story that kind of caught me because of that. And I think a lot of people may be on the fence about why Nickelback is so hated, but we'll go through the story here and find out. So over at Blabbermouth, Nickelback frontman Chad Kruger, sorry, remember he said that we've been pronouncing it wrong for 30 years. So believes that he understands why his band's detractors have been so vocal in publicizing their distaste for the Canadian Rock Act. Arguably the most disliked band in America, Nickelback has earned a type of hatred so potent it's hard to fathom what they did that was so terrible to the public consciousness. It's gotten to the point that people who enjoy Nickelback are even denying their fandom and hiding their CDs like a criminal contraband.
That's a little much.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people probably are like, no, I don't like them. Asked by Jorge Botas of Portugal's Metal Global, that may be somebody Victor may know, if he understands how Nickelback came to be so disliked by so many people. Chad said, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net, I think I've got a pretty good grasp of where things kind of went off the rails for us. I think that because we write so many different kinds of music, I think that if you were listening to a radio station at any time between 2000 and 2010, 11, 12 even, we were kind of the tough to get away from, he explained. Because if you didn't want to hear it and you changed to a different radio station, you probably hear it on there and then change to a different radio station. You were probably going to hear it in so many different places. And we were really tough to get away from. It's not my fault. He laughs and said, "We just write the songs." So with that comes backlash, and when that happens, uh, it's then comedians start making jokes, and that is then it starts making it on TV, and then it makes it into movies and stuff like that, and then it just turns into this wave of it's fun to pick on and it's an easy joke. And I get it. I understand. There are bands that when I hear them on the radio, I and ooh, what the hell? Okay, that was kind of crazy typo there, I think. But anyway, so when I hear them on the radio, and they're very popular bands, I mean, we have all those. No one is exempt from that. And there are certain bands where you just hear them and you just don't like them. And other people may have half the world may love them. And I'll just be like, no, I just cannot hear this band one more time. And just like everyone else does, I just change the channel. But we became the whipping boy of the music industry for a while there. But whatever, it's just part of the history of the band. According to Chad, Nickelback's not the first group to experience this kind of severe backlash that has earned him and his bandmates the title of the most hated act in America, or actually in the world. I think it said, yeah, most hated act in the world. It's funny because we were at the American Music Awards, and when we were presenting, and we presented to Def Leppard, Chad recalled, and when we walked backstage afterward, Joe Elliott and Phil Collins turned to me, and they were just like, "Dude, thank you so much." And I'm like, "For what?" They were like, "For taking the trophy. We get to pass the baton to you for being the most hated band in the world now." And I was just like, "Oh yeah, because I want that." And it's funny because we went to dinner with AC/DC in Chicago years and years ago, and Chad at it, and then the whole thing came up, and Brian Johnson said when they released Back in Black, they were the most hated band on the planet. So I feel like we're in pretty good company. Back in 2016, a student named Sally Antonin at the University of Eastern Finland conducted a study to find out why there is so much hate directed towards Nickelback. Antonin analyzed Finnish reviews of the band from 2000 through 2014 for her paper, which was titled Hypocritical Bullshit Performed Through Gritted Teeth, Authenticity Discourses in Nickelback's Album Reviews in Finnish Media. Wow, that's a mouthful. Antonin found that critiques of the band became harsher as they become more popular, noting it became a phenomenon where the journalists were using the same reasons to bash them and making an art out of ridiculing them. Even though the study was based solely upon Finnish reviews of the band, the critics' animosity toward the group has been a global phenomenon. And concluded Nickelback is too much of everything to be enough of something. They followed genre expectations too well, which is seen as empty imitation, but also not well enough, which is read as a commercial tactic and as a lack of a stable and sincere identity. So, yeah. So I mean, I kind of see that, I guess. I mean, because me and you both listen to stuff on the radio. I'm like, God damn, again. It's like, I mean, we talked about Led Zeppelin growing up. I mean, it's like every time you turn down radio station on back where we grew up, you heard Led Zeppelin. It's like, dude, enough already, you know. But we get it. They were popular, and you know. And like I said, I'm not going to say I hate all Nickelback songs. I do. There's a couple in there I could listen to, but as far as like album front to back, I don't know if I could do that. But
no, there's no. Yeah,
maybe a couple of early ones, but
and see that's the funny thing is I'm definitely not going to call myself a Nickelback fan because I'm not, but at the same time, you know, it's the songs, and Chad, he even mentioned it in the story. I mean, they were literally everywhere at one point, and you know, the rock station, quote unquote rock station here. I mean, they would literally take a song and beat the absolute shit out of it to the point where like, you know what, fuck this song. I cannot listen to this song again. Right. And they still do it. Yeah. You know, so, you know, Photograph and I'm not even 100% sure of the exact titles of some of these songs, but Photograph is one of them that they would play all the time. And then I can't remember. Like I say, I don't know the names of these songs, but
I know Animals was another one they kind of.
Yeah, that's another one. And then the one where I like your pants around your feet or whatever, that song.
Oh yeah,
they drove that song into the ground and shit like that. But the funny thing is like songs like The Machine and the one where Dimebag Darrell guest starred on it.
Yeah.
The one with the Side of a Bullet, I think is the name of that song.
Yeah.
So there are actually some pretty decent Nickelback songs out there that never got played. So and as mainstream stations do, they'll take the safe songs and they'll play those. Because the rock station here, they'll actually on occasion they'll play Metallica, they'll play Slipknot, they'll play Disturbed, they'll play even.
But the thing is with Slipknot, it's like duality, or
they'll play.
Like
they'll play.
It's never like All Out Life or anything. So
that's the thing. So even here locally, the songs that do get played are still like the safer songs. Like Snuff. And
so 1029 the ballad buzz.
Pretty much, yeah. And not to bring up another band that gets a whole shit ton of hate, even Five Finger Death Punch, when they would play them, they would play like when The Bleeding first came out, I got sick of that song.
Yeah.
Because 1029 did the same damn thing. Hear that song once an hour, or so it would seem, and it was the bleeding. It's like, all right, enough of this fucking song.
I think it's like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is how like take it Five Finger for example, is they sound the same as they did then, but the music has evolved so much since they came out. So it's not like, I think that's what I was talking about with everything being hard rock to metal, and blues to rock to metal, all that stuff. And I think there's a fine line between all that, and at some point you have to realize, okay, I'm not in this genre anymore, so I need to do something, or just go with hey, I'm a hard rock band now, and you got some people that know their identity, like Godsmack. Sully Erna's always said, we're not a metal band, we're a rock band. I mean, if you got people that know that already, and I think you get more respect by doing that than if you go out and say, no, we're still a metal band, but then you play shit like on the last Five Finger album, which we won't go into, but there was like, I mean, they had some good songs on it, don't get me wrong, but then there was a lot of more of the ballady stuff that you're not, that they kind of like drawn more to, and it's like, I get it, but I mean, don't put 4 ballads on a damn album, man. You're a metal band. That's like not cool, but
there has been quite an evolution in Five Finger Death Punch's sound over the last couple albums. Like Fate, this one, like you say, it was a lot softer than Fate, and then Fate was. So you could kind of hear it creeping in, but at the same time, Five Finger Death Punch has never really, they've never really changed their sound. They've just kind of added.
And I think that's what I was saying. Like, you got bands out now that have changed the way that people portray the metal industry, and it's gotten away from what Five Finger Death Punch sounds like. So, I mean, you still hear songs like "Welcome to the Circus" and stuff like that. That's on the new album. That like, oh wow, this is badass. And then then they turn out with I can't remember what that last one was that they had. Was it Times Like These? I think it was. It was just like,
I think so. Yeah,
I was like, come on, man, you're killing me here. But IOU was a good song too. But I do think that, like, I think another thing is with Five Finger is, especially with this new album, is that they didn't have a cover, which was kind of,
which was fine. That's
which fine. I think that's kind of what they were. I think that maybe what they were trying to do, because they got so much heat for having covers. and then they just try to like do something without covers, and then now nobody likes that either. So,
Well, I mean, I've gone on record before as saying I like a good cover, but just because you do a
right.
cover doesn't mean it's going to be good for sure.
And they've done some good covers. I give them credit, but
yeah, they've put out some good ones, but they've also done some bad ones. I mean, you know, if you could go back and if I could go back and talk to Ivan and say, hey, Mama said knock you out. Don't do that shit.
But I think that was kind of a phase during that period. I think a lot of bands were taking, you know, hip hop and rap songs and you know, trying to metal them out. So, and of course you got Ice-T with Body Count that, you know, doesn't help the situation any either. But you know, not knocking them. You know, I'm just saying that's kind of what the metal bands were doing. Is Body Count's a rapper and they're doing metal, so why can't we just cover metal, you know, rap songs as a metal band? But
I'm not trying.
Of course, that don't always work out. But
right, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't try it, but
right.
in that one instance is like, and we've talked about before how we don't really care for a lot of the covers that In This Moment has done. So
right.
it's kind of the more often than not, it ends up being the choice of the song that's picked to be covered.
Yeah,
really.
It was like you said. I think In This Moment, the only cover that did it was worthy thing was "Call Me" from Blondie, and then
it was
the rest of the stuff was kind of like,
yeah.
But then again, she has covered some songs that you know we didn't care for the song to begin with, so we
that's also true.
You don't like the original, or chances are you're not going to like the cover. So.
That's also true. So it'll that instance it kind of all, you know, comes back around to the personal taste of the listener anyway. But as far as, you know, to come all the way back around to Nickelback, I think it is in the story, you know, Chad even said that at some point, you know, they became the butt of the joke because other people started making the jokes. Like when it ends up in comedy, it kind of bleeds into the mainstream. And then when a band or a song is always out there in just the music part, and then it bleeds into the, you know, the rest of the everyday life and the pop culture, then it becomes kind of an oversaturation or inundation thing. And then I think people are just like, yeah, we've had enough of Nickelback, whether or not their songs are good, bad, or otherwise. I think at some point it's like, we're tired of hearing about Nickelback, not just I'm tired of hearing Nickelback. We're just tired of hearing about them. But, and I think to a lesser extent, I think the band Creed kind of ended up kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
You know, when Creed first came out, I'll be honest, there was some of their stuff that I really liked. You know, so, but at some point, well, I think actually what kind of bit Creed in the ass was Scott Stapp.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's kind of what got them, but which is kind of evident in the fact that Creed isn't around anymore and Nickelback is still around. You know, nobody in Nickelback has done any of the bullshit that, you know, Scott Stapp did. So Scott Stapp kind of bit himself and Creed in the ass, you know, because you know, Mark Tremonti's still around making music with Alter Bridge. So
I mean, most of Creed is in Alter Bridge. So I mean, it's like
yeah, so they kind of had to distance themselves from that. So, but I think,
well, I mean, they had to do something because I think pretty much, you know, Scott was affiliated with the Creed brand. So, I mean, you couldn't really say, oh, we're Creed, but Scott Stapp's not here because,
because then
it's not Creed. So,
and then even if they would have kept the same band name together, but it got a new front man, you know, at some point Creed was kind of like, it just like made everybody cringe, you know? So it's like, Creed, you know? So
I thought Scott Stapp was using the name again, but I could be wrong, but
I don't know. I don't think so. Cause I seem to remember not too long ago, I think Blabbermouth had a story and all I read was the headline talking about there being some sort of reunion and nobody ruling it out, but the timing needs to be right and all that other stuff. You know, the same old, you know, well, we'll never say never unless you're Rachel Bolan and, you know, Sebastian Bach. But that's a whole different thing altogether. But, you know, I think the crux of the story is they're kind of, because even you mentioned AC/DC, you mentioned Def Leppard in the story. I think there's always for some reason as a populace, I guess there always has to be one target. There's always got to be a target for something. And I think for whatever reason, Nickelback just, there's William. I think at some point, for some reason, Nickelback just became the target, and they just kind of ridden with it for the most part. Because I mean, like I've talked about before, personally with Led Zeppelin, I am not a fan, but I also at the same time I'm a realist. I can't argue with their numbers and all all their accolades and everything else. So Nickelback's about to be inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. That's not by so
it's not just because they're Canadian and musicians. I mean, it's
right. That's what I'm so I mean,
they got a resume that got them there. So, but William put up a good point. He said musicians and fans have been taught and trained that musicians should produce hits, not produce music and songs. The products and luxuries have encouraged artists to write using economic as a guideline. Everyone loves four floors down from a puddle of nickel creed. yeah, there you go.
You know what? I think I would buy that album.
Yeah,
I think I would buy that.
That'd be a four band split album.
Yeah, it would.
But yeah, so
I like that.
If you fans out there aren't familiar with William Savant, he is the guitarist for Sepsis, and he's a very knowledgeable guy about the business side of music.
Yeah.
So,
if
you guys can get a chance to follow him on any socials, man, that'd probably be a good experience for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Follow Sepsis on Facebook and check out their Honeycomb Hideout broadcasts.
Yeah. So we actually sat down with those guys. Well, I'll say guys and girls, I guess. A few months back. So very interesting. Spotify says we should write music at 2 minutes 70-minute mark. Then we all do it. I mean, yeah, I guess I see that too. Because you got to get your music out there somehow. And they got like a limit on what you can do. I know, I know YouTube's got this new thing now where you can actually create a radio station on YouTube, but you're limited to 6-minute songs, so you can't put anything over 6 minutes in there, which kills a lot of old Metallica and Iron Maiden and stuff.
Yeah, almost all Metallica.
Yeah, so just say "Hallowed Be Thy Name" won't be on there. So
no, neither will "And Justice for All." So
yeah, there's a lot of we only follow what the retailers want. People wore music accordingly to cassette. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, because that kind of depends on you think about that back in the day. You had cassettes where you had to fast forward through stuff you didn't want to listen to instead of skipping on a CD. So you had to become a talent with that. And it's fast forward. I think that's it. Yeah, and he's true. Our artists have to adapt. I mean, that's the thing that we were just kind of talking about. Where if you're not adapting to the new sound, then you kind of get left out in the cold. But I think that's bringing Sepsis up since he's here. It's I think that's what kind of makes them unique, is because their sound doesn't sound like anybody else. So
no,
and I think that's kind of what a lot of bands are trying to look for. And don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of bands out there that we like that there's you can definitely tell they're thrash or they're whatever, but it's their core is still there. So but it's very, very, I guess, more difficult to get noticed if you sound like everybody else. So,
But and you even talked about it was either last week or the week before last. You had that story talking about how it's damn near impossible to get noticed on Spotify anymore just because of the glut of artists that are on there, and you got to find some way to get you got to find your niche, and then you got to find your sound, and then hopefully you can get ears on your sound to expand your fan base. And it's difficult, especially nowadays, not just because of Spotify, but William just brought up Apple Music. So I mean, there, and then all of the different places you can listen to music, and then you also have to compete with stuff like us,
right?
Directly, but I mean, you have to compete with podcasts and everything else. I mean, there's an inundation of just overall media that you have to account for, whether people are spending a lot of their time screwing around on TikTok, Instagram, not so much Facebook anymore, but and definitely not so much Twitter anymore. But still, those Facebook and Twitter are kind of having a little bit of a tough time right now. But still, there's so much shit that people are being bombarded with. And it's just really hard to stand out, especially if you're someone or if you're an artist that's new anyway, because even Adam Darsky of Behemoth, he said the same thing. He's like, he's like, my advice to new bands is to not start a band. He's being a little facetious, but his point was hard to get people to notice you now, because it's just every artist that's new is a little fish in a huge pond.
Right. And then William brought up the stats, and I think that was in the story last week too, where 90% of artists on Spotify have less than 50 listeners a month. Yeah. And I kind of want to say that a lot of that's because of, like you said, so many different musical outlets. Like, just like us. I mean, if you look at us on YouTube or something like that, you can't base off what we do from looking at YouTube numbers, because
we've got like 3 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So.
Yeah, which, I mean, whatever. I mean,
it's fine. It's fine.
That's what I say. Like, we go out to 146 different platforms. So I mean, that's all of our numbers are based out of a combination of all that. So
right.
And it's a good thing, in a sense, because you're what you're getting as far as numbers, but it can be a little bit of misleading when you look at just a single outlet. So, but it is what it is. So we love doing what we do, so we don't really care. But
right, yeah,
but
we're in a little bit of a different boat than people like William. Him is working on having sepsis be his job.
But I think the thing is like the thing that I like and respect more about those William and Sepsis is that they're not working on like Sepsis as just Sepsis as a band. They're working on Sepsis as a brand.
Exactly.
So that's a whole different that's a whole different bucket there. So
and
but like I said, when you create the brand, the band's going to prosper. So I mean,
And one of the things I really like about bands like Sepsis is they're going to do it their way,
right?
And everything else be damned. And I like that. I like that they're doing it, and that's actually one of the things I like about heavy metal as a genre in general. You've got bands that have their sound, and they're going to have their sound, and the results a lot of times can be secondary, because like this is the sound we want, this is the message that we want, and this is how we're going to do it. And if you don't like it, just fucking move on. And that's one of the things I really like about Sepsis is Sepsis is going to do Sepsis, and if you want to come along for, you're more than welcome to, and if not, just take the next train. So
And I think we could, because I mean, you kind of brought that up, and it reminded me of Corey Taylor talking about Slipknot just a few months ago, and they were asking, when the new album came out, and somebody was asking him, so what do you think, about the negativity you're getting from the album? He said, hey, Slipknot's putting out music. You take what the fuck we give you. So I mean, and that's I mean, that's kind of how it is. I mean, they're the musicians. If you don't like it, then this is the thing. We as consumers, and fans, need to realize that it doesn't fucking matter what you think personally. You can come out, like we come out here, we do our opinions on the stuff. That doesn't mean anything. And we said that this is our opinion. and we've done albums and say, hey, you know, I didn't like that part of it, but hey, go check it out. You might see something in there you like. We're
Mhm.
not going to turn you away from something just because we don't like it. I mean,
Right.
you know, we put, so the Spotify playlist I put out every week has brand new bands on it that I've never heard of, or brand new
Mhm.
music, one or the other. It's all new releases.
Yep.
So when you look at that, you can either discover new bands or say, hey, I don't really care much for that band, or you know. And then sometimes it's misleading because I listened to a song a couple of weeks ago off of one, and then I tried to listen to the album, and the album felt like I was listening to 5 different genres of fucking music in it. I mean, which was kind of crazy, but it was interesting to me because you don't get that in every album.
Right.
You know, it's usually, you know, it's a you know, steady, you know, play or whatever, and it's what it is. But when you
Mhm.
listen to something like that, and you're like, oh wow, that's different. Oh wow, that's different. Oh wow, that's different than that one. Like how much different
Yeah.
can you get? You know,
Right.
but and it's good because now you know, and I wish I could remember the name of the band because I would definitely shout them out. But like I said, we listen to so much music doing this show that it's hard to keep up with you know everything. So I apologize, um,
Hmm.
but yeah. So I mean, you know, like I said, you got to be distinct. You know, when you're you know getting into this, and like we want younger people, younger bands to make it because I mean,
Yeah, we absolutely do.
because we talk about this like somebody's got to carry the torch once all these bands that we know and love, you know, hang it up or retire or
Mhm.
whatever. So I mean,
Yep.
and of course, you know, it's becoming more and more common too with some of the stories that we you know we haven't got into yet. So, so,
Yeah.
so but anyway, so thank you Nickelback for running us off the rails there. So,
Yeah. Well, it's you know. Yeah.
uh,
Hey, Nickelback, we hate you for that. So.
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like they said, a lot of the hate is because oh man, they hate it. I ain't supposed to like it either. You know, it's kind of you know like
Yeah.
Loudwire comes out and says, oh well, you know they've gotten soft or whatever, and then of course we're like, oh well, damn, maybe they've gotten soft without even listening to any of their
Right.
new shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
Well, that
problem
well.
is nobody's listening to anything to give it a chance to see, oh, well, I do like this or I don't like this.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I'll listen to the new Nickelback album and there's, you know, majority of it I didn't really care for, but there are a few songs on there. I'm like, okay, I can dig this one. But and I feel like that if Nickelback would and they're not going to, so I already know this, but if they would
Mhm.
change their sound just a little to kind of feed off of that Devil Went Down in Georgia sound, dude, they would man.
I,
I would be on board. I'd wear a Nickelback shirt and proudly.
and see, there's an example of a fucking cover that worked.
Yeah, yeah,
There's an example. Yeah, that one worked. But yeah, so thanks to William for dropping by in the chat. And hey, William,
yeah.
if you're still around, you're more than welcome to come on the show and actually discuss this with us. You don't have to sit there and type everything out. So so you got an open invitation, to come hang out with us on the show. And I would be remiss if I didn't say good morning to our friend Victor. Victor, good morning.
Morning,
I know
Victor.
yep.
Yeah, Victor has been a big, I guess, I want to say a big help with building,
Yeah.
our brand. I mean,
Yep.
I mean, there's the stuff he does is so amazing, and we appreciate it so much. And,
Mm-hmm.
he has his own thing going too, so it's kind of a,
Yep.
rock and heavy. So it's kind
Yep.
of a
Rock and heavy. That's right.
kind of a big deal for us to mention him since he's had his own thing going and he still finds time to help us out, and we appreciate that. So.
Yep, we absolutely do. Yeah, it's amazing that the amount of time that he has to go to as many concerts as he does. I'm kind of
Jealous,
I'm envious of that. He's at a show in a different city. He's almost like on his own tour. He's in a different city
Yeah.
every weekend. It seems like.
Yeah. So just let us know if blink once if this is true.
Yeah.
So, you have a private jet, don't you?
Yeah, you didn't really drive to Atlanta. You just.
Yeah, people say, "Well, I'll jet it down to Atlanta." They're like, he really did jet down to Atlanta.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah.
All right, I guess we better get back into our news segment here since we got kind of thrown off topic.
Yeah,
there
we probably should.
Well, I mean, not off topic, just kind of went sideways there. So
a little.
But, if you've been in this show, that's kind of normal for us.
Yeah, it's not out of the ordinary for sure.
It was kind of funny because we were talking last night on the show, and Aaron and then was talking about how somebody was complaining about a show not being kind of going off the rails a little bit. And I said, well, shit, they'll love our show because I don't think we ever stay on topic long.
No, we don't. I will time to go back and review every show we've ever done. If any of our shows have gone in a straight line, I would be absolutely astounded.
Yeah. Well, there may be a few, but it was probably early in where we didn't have the
probably. See, look at this. Look, next week, Victor is going to be covering Amon Amarth, Great Heathen Tour with Carcass, Obituary, and Cattle Decapitation in Chicago.
Get the fuck out of here.
Damn. I know. What the hell?
Man, that's a hell of a damn lineup.
Yeah, it is.
Dude.
Amon Amarth is one of those bands I haven't seen yet, and I would very much like to.
Yeah, put you back into the org and get your tickets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which was funny last night. If you go back and listen to the Discipline Geek podcast, I was definitely. He had the little drum roll, the little drum roll thing for bad jokes,
Oh, yeah, the little rim shot thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I told him, I said, man, you might as well keep that handy because there's going to be a lot of those during this one. I'm going to tell you. So, yeah. So yeah, I got going and I got a bunch of those. So,
yeah, Victor, I'm definitely going to be checking out the live stream of that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
You can count on that.
Circling back to the stories here. So if the signal's good enough.
If the signal's good enough, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that all depends on the technology. Don't we know that here at the Metalheads Unite podcast?
Well, yeah.
I can't even remember who that. I can't. Oh no, it was you who read the last story because you were talking about Nickelback. That's right. Okay. Staying over at PRP for a little bit. British metal legends Iron Maiden have joined forces with Marvel for a second line of collaborative merch. Last November saw the two respective powerhouses team up to release apparel and accessories that united the band's mascot Eddie with several Marvel characters, including Wolverine, Venom, and Deadpool. This time around, the likes of Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, War Machine, and several zombies variants of popular characters like Thor, Captain America, and Captain America are featured alongside Eddie. You can dig into the whole line here. Hyperlink in the story, and there's actually a YouTube video at the bottom of this story that you can check out too. But here is, I honestly don't know if this picture is from this line or the first line, but there's that right there. You got that right there. So yeah,
okay. Nice.
Yep. So that's very cool. Again, another iron.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Another iron that Iron Maiden has in the fire. So
yeah. Well, they have plenty of those, I think. So
not a one. Again, it's just like Jason, you just talked about. Iron Maiden as a brand, not just a band.
Yeah, so. Right. I mean, it's true because you got
same thing.
They got their own, plane and everything. So have for years. So it wasn't. I remember back in like 80, 4, 5, 6, somewhere around in there when I was, we were I was looking at Iron Maiden stuff and it had a big ass jet with Iron Maiden on the side of it. So it's kind of like it's been around just about as long as the band has. So maybe they needed a pilot. Maybe that's why they so they got Bruce in there. So.
That's right.
Which is crazy.
So
which is crazy because we were talking about that story last week where oh well, he's just jealous of Ozzy. Dude does so much shit. He has no reason to be jealous of anybody.
No, he absolutely does not.
I mean, for them to say that, it's kind of like, I'm like, yeah, that dude's got so much going on. He ain't got time to be jealous of nobody. So.
No. I would say if anyone's jealous of anybody, I would say maybe a little jealous of Bruce Dickinson, but
Yeah. Well. Of course, we don't know how everything went down because he may have had a little bit more power than she wanted him to have over the situation, I guess. But
You know what? That's probably what it is. Sharon, Bruce Dickinson isn't one of those people to let him get pushed around, and
well,
Sharon
no,
Sharon likes to swing dick all the time,
mm-hmm.
and he probably was like, mm-mm. So
Yeah, not this week.
yeah, yeah.
All right, this one's over from Blabbermouth. This was kind of an interesting, interesting story. So, in a new interview with Andrew Daly of Metal Castle, legendary hard rock vocalist Joe Lynn Turner of Rainbow, Deep Purple, and of course Yngwie Malmsteen, greatest band in the world, was,
Yeah, yeah.
was asked for his thoughts on it. That is sarcasm, by the way. Was asked for his thoughts on his contemporaries using backing tracks in the live setting. He said, I think it's become too much. I understand some groups need to rely on those computers, but I'm old school and I think live music should be live. That's what people pay for. If you're well known and you're going out there and using backing tracks, you're not being honest. It's pantomime. Uh, it's not even karaoke. I feel like it's cheating people and it's cheating yourself because if you can't cut it live, well, then that's what separates the men from the boys. That's what separates who's great, who's average. Anyone can cover it up in the studio, but it all comes out live. And if you can't hack it, then get off the stage. I understand there's a technology that certain bands use today, but if you're Kiss, for example, maybe you ought to just quit while you're ahead, guys. Don't you think you've got enough money to where you don't need to take all the static for doing what you're doing? All it's doing is destroying your legacy, and you'd probably be better off if you just stopped. I'm not trying to point them out individually, but they've been known to use it. And look, I understand how difficult it is, especially for singers, because you can only go so many nights in a row. So if you want to be out there still, maybe cut back the nights and maybe you can't make as much money. I think we have to look at the driving force here and try to understand the motivation for why they do it. If you're only doing it for money, so you can have 5 nights instead of 3, that's not a good enough reason for me. Go play for 3 nights and be yourself, or stop doing it altogether. In recent years, more and more artists have been given a pass for relying on pre-recorded tracks, drum triggers, and other assorted technology that makes concerts more synthetic, but also more consistent. For better or worse, pre-recorded tracks are becoming increasingly common for touring artists of all levels and genres, and they're just not just used in pop music. Many rock artists utilize playback tracks to varying degrees. So, man, Milli Vanilli would be pissed right now. It's like, damn, we did that 20 years ago. We got shit for it.
Yeah. Milli Vanilli was literally doing it before it was cool.
Yeah. But I kind of agree with it in a sense. It's like you want it to be raw. Like I said, we talk about this a lot on this show because we're live, and that's what we like about it is because you get everything. You get the bloopers. You get the whatever goes on is there. I mean, you never it's always there. So.
Yeah.
And I think like we talked about the Testament show, the bloopers in that was what made us. I mean, we remembered that more than we remembered anything else from the show.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you get from the live feel of things is you get that real that realism and stuff from it. And I think I can see that in a way. And then again, some people go to the concerts and expect it to sound like the album. So you kind of gotta figure out what to do based on your personal thoughts about it, because you don't know what portion of fans are out there. You don't know if the live portion of fans are here or if the fans that want it to sound like the record are here. So I think you're just better off going live and just winging it. So that's just me personally. Like I said, I kind of agree with it in a sense, but then again, I can see why they do it because like I said, there's a lot of people that expect the live shows to sound like they do on the record. So
it for me, I'm kind of in the camp that I want the live performance to be as live and in the moment as possible.
Right.
So if there's a band, because I mean like we went to see Slipknot a little while back, and I've seen Slipknot multiple times, and I like the fact that Slipknot sounds different on stage than they do. than they do in the studio. And you have to expect that because, you know, Corey Taylor is probably not in the recording booth. It's gone. Why? So,
well, right,
you know,
right, yeah.
So he's not singing on the album Mask, you know, and when he's on stage, you know, he's moving around and he's in the moment, he's interacting with the crowd. So he doesn't sing the exact same way live that he does in the studio. He doesn't hold the notes as long. He doesn't sing every song exactly the way it was written and recorded, you know. So for me, I expect that, you know, but Corey Taylor, he's involved in the performance. Like I say, he's interacting with the crowd and all that stuff. But you know what you're getting is you're actually getting it from him. You know, you're getting that from him. You know, you're getting the actual performance from you know, from the guys on stage. You know, everybody's playing the music. You know, the guys doing the custom percussion, beating on the, you know, the keg with the baseball bat and all that shit.
Right.
You know, so you're getting the full experience. Now, at the same time, on the other hand, I've seen Disturbed like 4 times in concert. And one of the things I appreciate about like David Draymond's vocal style translates to the live stage. And David Draymond, more often than not, sounds exactly the way he does on stage, almost the way he does on the albums. But I can appreciate that because I know when I'm watching him, I'm actually watching him sing the song. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think there's some sort of balance you need to find. But at the same time, I've seen Rob Zombie before too. And I know that, you know, the little intros to his songs and everything, those are pre-recorded. So he uses those as the intros to his song. But Rob Zombie's not going to have like Meet the Creeper playing in the background just in case he decides he doesn't want to hold the microphone up to his face for a second and sing over it. So, you know, there's been videos of stuff come out recently, and one of them was even of Kiss, where you know, one of the members of the band missed the mark, and I think it was actually Paul Stanley, if I remember right. Paul Stanley missed a mark, and he like pulled away from the microphone and like looked off to the part, looked over here, and you could hear him singing, and he was looking off over here. And it was like, and there was a big fucking fervor about it. It's like, oh, and I watched the video. I was like, ooh, whoops. So
Julian Turner brought that up. So
so
I think that's one of the reasons why he was talking about it was because of that. So
so you know, if I'm going to a show, I want it to be as, you know, I want it to be as real as possible.
Unless it's a Motley Crue show, then you may want Vince Neil to be recorded.
Right? Yeah, it's like, can we get Vince Neil? Yeah, can we get Vince some help? But you know, so for me personally, I would like it to be as real as possible. But I mean, I'm also not under any delusions, you know.
Well, I think you have to look at it too. Is like, you know, what is Paul Stanley, like 70 something? I mean, golly, I mean, can he go out night after night and do that like he used to do when he was 30? Well, hell no. So I mean, you got to like look at you almost look at it as an experience at this point. It's like, okay, like me, I've never seen Kiss, so if I went to see Kiss, I wouldn't care because I just wanted to put Kiss in my bucket list and be done with it, you know. But not that I probably ever will see Kiss. I'm just saying, but you know, for one, I'm not paying that much to see fucking Kiss. But
no shit,
but, you know, Taylor Swift prices, but but yeah, so it's
I would be a little pissed to know if I was going to see an artist and they literally lip synced the whole time. That would piss me off.
Yeah.
Like if there was like 1 or 2 songs in the middle of a set where maybe the singer took the song off and just kind of, I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but I mean, I could understand. You have like a 90-minute set, and you know, you got like 2 songs right in the middle of the set where, you know, you gave your voice a rest. I don't know.
That's what guitar solos are for, man.
That's also true. You know, so I don't know. I don't want to sound I don't want to sound hypocritical about it. I guess I'm kind of conflicted about it. I guess basically what it
Yeah, I
boils
mean,
down to. I guess
like,
it would.
it's kind of like you can see it, in certain situations. I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, to do it all the time, then no, yeah, I would
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
not be
So.
down with you doing a whole tour with you're just playing like you're in the backyard somewhere, karaoke into something,
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, hell,
hell,
well,
like you said, wouldn't it be karaoke? It'd be
it wouldn't
pantomime.
even be
Yeah, I
karaoke
mean,
because you're not even singing. The
yeah,
sound isn't coming out of you. So yeah.
yeah. Could you just see him like out there playing and like, damn, he ain't got his amp hooked up. What the hell?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Now, see, that would piss me off.
yeah.
Okay, let's see. All right, still over at the PRP. This one's kind of interesting because we reported on the happenings of the band earlier this year. Several former members of the beloved Buffalo, New York metalcore outfit Every Time I Die recently hit the studio together. Upon the aforementioned group splitting earlier this year, all of the band's Sans vocalist Keith Buckley publicly expressed that they hope to continue on making music together. While they've been teasing that they have in store what they have in store throughout the year, it would appear that we're getting even closer to finally hearing what they have been cooking up. Guitarist Jordan Buckley, bassist Stephen McKeeche, and drummer Clayton Goose Holyoke all recently spent some time at GCR Audio in Buffalo, New York, laying down new material with producer Will Putney of Body Count and Every Time I Die. It's unclear if guitarist Andy Williams, who has been focusing on his professional wrestling career in AEW, was also involved in these sessions or the project. It has also not been revealed who will be handling the presumed vocal duties. As it stands now, you can hear some clips from songs being tracked in the studio from these last sessions below, and there is there's an Instagram post embedded in the story. So if you guys are interested in that, you can either look them up on Instagram or let's see who. Let's see, the Instagram post is for Jordan ETID. So that's the Instagram page for Jordan Buckley. So if you don't have Instagram, like I say, you can go over to the prp.com story. So it would be there too. So interesting, some interesting happenings there. I would be looking forward to seeing if Andy Williams is actually going to come back to whatever incarnation of this band ends up being, because who knows if he's going to have time with his wrestling schedule. So,
and like I said, I think it's at a point where you have, of course, then Jericho does it, so he could always look at that too. But I think at some point, especially with Jericho, you're going to have to pick a side, because I mean you're 50. I think he 53, 54 now. So he's getting up there, to where, of course, don't get me wrong, you can still wrestle with 60 and 70. Of course, Ric Flair did it, but but I mean, what kind of caliber of matches are you putting on at that point? It's kind of thing.
Right.
I don't think Jericho would want to be in the ring and not put on a show that he feels like the fans are getting their money's worth off of. So, I don't think he would ever do that, but then again, you never know. But I think Jericho's got enough to back up to where he don't have to worry about wrestling, and but only wrestling. So he, of course, he could be a musician for another 20 years, and still be fine. So I think he would.
Yeah. Well, the good thing in Jericho's case, personality enough to where even when his in ring career is over, he's still got personality enough where, I mean, hell, he's already doing commentary on Rampage.
Well, there you go.
So, I mean, so he's already
maybe he's already transitioning. Yeah. So
I think slowly he might be.
Yeah. Well, because Lawler did that too. Lawler.
Yeah. And Jericho's been in a stable pretty much his entire run with AEW, with the exception of when he had the title, when he first won it. But even then, when he first won the world championship, he was in the inner circle, and they were making sure that he won all of his matches, because he was on that heel run when he was in the inner circle. So, he hasn't been, and because he's even in a stable now. He's in a new stable now. So he doesn't have to be He doesn't have to be the focal point. He doesn't have to be the one carrying the load. So he's got complementary wrestlers around him now. So he doesn't have to worry about, can I still do a singles run? Because, I mean, hell, I don't even know how old he is, but he's in his 50s, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's like 53 or 54. Or
yeah.
something.
So I mean, he's not going to be a full-time singles wrestler anymore. So,
yeah.
But yeah, he's got the music to fall back on, and he can always be the next JR or the next
And I mean, he's got a pretty successful podcast too. So I mean, he's got a lot of irons in the fire too. So
yeah, he does. Yes, he does.
Like, I don't know how the guy does it, but he's definitely hats off to him, because I seen where he did a show for Fozzy one night, and then he did a recording for AEW one night. 2 nights later had a Fozzy show, and then the next night or next day he was taking his family to Disney World. I'm like, what the fuck? How in the hell do you find time to do all this shit, man? Like,
well, I don't know where he lives, but if
I think he lives in Florida, so
that probably helps, because if he lives in Florida, and if at the time, because when the pandemic happened, AEW was shooting every episode of Dynamite from Jacksonville,
right?
And then Disney World is in Orlando, so
right, yeah.
That kind of helps. Proximity to everything helps, but still having enough time, because Jesus.
And then right back out on the road with Fozzy.
Right. So, yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
But, all right. My last story here is from Metal Sucks. This is kind of interesting because kind of a what could have been story.
Oh,
here.
okay. All right.
So there could have been a world in which we would have seen a Dave Mustaine and James Hetfield come together for a special project, had an ongoing and unsettled publishing dispute had not gotten in the way. At least that's what the outspoken Megadeth frontman said in a recent interview with Guitar.com. According to Mustaine, one of the last conversations he had with his Metallica counterpart was the idea of working together on something. Both parties apparently seemed into the idea, but Mustaine says the discussion eventually turned to money and past agreements, where it seemed like ice water was thrown on the whole project. There's 3 sides to every story, right? Well, there's my side. There would be the other person's side, and then there would be the truth, which is somewhere right in the middle. Yep. Oddly enough, that was one of the last conversations I ever had with Metallica guitarist and vocalist James Hetfield, because we were talking about getting back together and doing a project. He continued, something had come up about the publishing discrepancy that we have been arguing about for years and years and years. And I told James, I'll do it, but we've got to get this stuff sorted out first. And he said, oh, yeah, sure. So I said, now these 2 songs you had me split 50-50. Lars, Metallica drummer, didn't write on the song. You know that. I don't know why you gave him percentages, but I'm not going to sign another deal that's going to confirm that, because I never agreed to that. And James said, well, Lars has a different recollection of that. And I said, that's fine. There's his side of the story. There's my side, and the truth is somewhere. And that blew his mind. And we haven't talked since. I was trying to really be friendly with him. He told me that the last 3 projects they did bombed, and they wanted to go back and use all the stuff that I was on. And I said, sure. As soon as I said that 3 stories bit, it was over. And as you may or may not remember, this all likely stems from an ongoing debate about which classic Metallica songs Mustaine should or shouldn't have writing credits on. Dave has long asserted that more songs from at least the first 3 albums should have his name on them. When it came time for Metallica to release an expanded version of the No Life Till Leather demo tape, Mustaine put the kibosh on that because he didn't want to perpetrate false information regarding the writing credits. In 2018, Mustaine said he discussed the expanded demo tape, but said no to the project when Lars wanted publishing on it, despite James and I being the sole songwriters. Now, if we were to use Mustaine's logic right now, then there's his story and there's Hetfield's story about how this all went down. I, for one, would love to hear James talk about this apparent interaction and see how it differs from Dave's. That being said, I doubt we'll ever get to that side of the conversation since Hetfield's too busy counting the stacks of money and kicking it in Colorado when he's not off selling out tours all over the world. Whatever, dude. But I kind of agree with that, man. If Lars didn't have anything on it, then why in the fuck is he getting credit for it? I don't understand that. Just because you and James created a band, you're supposed to get credit. I don't give a shit. You didn't write it, you're not getting it, dude. That's not how it works. I mean, yeah, you may have played it, but you didn't write it. So don't take writing credit for something you didn't write. So
yeah, I swear sometimes sometimes I get the feeling in certain circumstances, I almost feel like James Hetfield might be like afraid of Lars.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what the fuck it is. I mean, it's just,
I think Lars's father was a musician too, wasn't he? I want to say he was. I can't remember.
Well, Lars's father was a tennis player.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like just like I don't know if it's like a personality thing where, I mean, obviously James and Lars get together or they get along well, but I don't know if it's like a personality thing with Lars. Cause if you remember during the, Some Kind of Monster documentary, James and Lars, they fucking almost came to blows, but I don't know what it is. I mean, they've been friends for 40 some odd years, but I mean, hell, even the best of friends have it out like eventually, depending on, of course, when fucking money's involved, shit can change in a heartbeat.
It's not like a Dino Cavares and Burton C. Bell issues.
Let's hope not. But yeah, I mean, if you didn't contribute, then you don't get credit. You don't get credit. And whatever history Metallica and Megadeth have with each other, and we all know it. It's well documented.
Right.
But at the same time, don't fucking cheat the guy.
Right.
I'm talking about Dave. Don't cheat the guy. Don't fucking.
Well, do that. I mean, I think Dave put it best. It's like, hey, if you want to give him half your money, you can, but I'm not because he's
right. Exactly. Shit,
so, He's like, I'm taking 50. If you want to give him 25 of yours, that's fine, but I'm not.
Yeah. So I mean, in this instance, I'm kind of on Dave's side if that's what really happened.
Right. Yeah. Same. So.
Yeah. So I don't think Lars is entitled to any credit that he didn't contribute. So.
Or maybe it's just as Lars thinks he's entitled to everything. So
He might, but that's not right.
Yeah, and poor old Kirk's just a little step kid in the background or something.
Yep.
You can't write this, okay?
Right. Okay, so
hopefully they're getting a little bit more lenient with that in their older age, because I think even Rob Trujillo's even had some insight on some writing lately. So
yeah. All right, let's see. Let me see how quick I can get through these because I actually have 4 more things to read. It shouldn't take me too long. Over at the PRP, Springfield, Massachusetts-based melodic metalcore have earned themselves another sales streaming accolade. Their signature track, 2 Weeks, from their 2008 album Overcome, has officially gone platinum in the U.S. The RIAA certified the song as such on November 16th. It had previously gone gold back in 2018. It's the band's first track to attain platinum status with their singles What If I Was Nothing and their cover of the 1990 Garth Brooks hit The Thunder Rolls, previously having attained gold status last year.
That sounds horrible.
So not great. So congratulations to all that remains there. Over at metalsucks.net, not content to only get into the pet supplies business, New Metal Legends Corn are looking to spice things up in your life by releasing their own hot sauce thanks to a collaboration with Heatonist, the company most famous for providing many of us the sauces found on the insanely popular YouTube series Hot Ones. Collaborated with the boys from Bakersfield to create a hot sauce that, while not particularly destructive, can still provide a little kick. Each bottle uses fresh ingredients like onions, corn, jalapenos, pineapples, serrano peppers, chipotles, garlic, lime juice, and other spices. Of particular note is the omission of gut bombs like the insanely hot Carolina Reapers or ghost peppers. So that's why this sauce is rated a 2.5 out of 10 on Heatonist's spiciness scale. You can grab yourself a bottle for $12. There's a hyperlink in the story. So whether you're a habanero homie or a cayenne chump, you should be able to handle the heat. You should be able to handle the heat that corn is slinging. So
y'all want some hot sauce? I say fuck that.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Back over to Blabbermouth for the last two. Julian's Auctions, the acclaimed auction house to the stars, held on Friday, November 11th through Sunday, November 13th, their headline-making Icons and Idols rock and roll auction, featuring an incredible lineup of over 1,500 lots featuring memorabilia, wardrobe, and musical instrument, jewelry, and more from legendary musicians and pop culture icons, Kurt Cobain, and a slew of others that I'm not going to read because there's Kurt Cobain's actually the focus of this one. Sold in front of a live audience at the Hard Rock Cafe in New York City and online with thousands of bidders, fans, and collectors from around the world participating at juliansauctions.com. One of the anticipated moments of the weekend was the sale of the 1973 Fender Mustang owned, staged, played, and smashed and signed by Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain, which was sold for an astounding $486. So
how much?
$486,400. Just a shade under $500,000.
Jesus Christ. For a broken guitar?
for a broken and autographed guitar. Yep. So it has since been reassembled. But yeah. The axe was used on Nirvana's first U.S. tour at two performances in 1989, the first at Club Dreamers in Chicago on July 8th, and the second at the Sonic Temple in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania on July 9th, where Cobain smashed the guitar to pieces across the stage during the finale performance of Blue. So there you go. And there's actually
they use some flex tape and put it back together.
Actually, there's a picture of it. I don't know if this is actually how it was put back together, but it looks like it may have been. But honestly, it just looks like duct tape, to be honest with you.
Oh wow!
So I don't know. So yep, almost a cool $500,000 for that. And then last but not least, this is kind of a follow-up to a story that I think you had a couple weeks ago. Zakk Wylde has revealed some of the songs that Pantera might perform at its upcoming shows. In July, it was reported that Wylde and Anthrax drummer Charlie Benante, along with Philip Anselmo and Rex Brown, Pantera, headlining a number of major festivals across North America, South America, and Europe, and staging some of their own headline concerts. Sorry. According to a report by Billboard, Wylde and Benante's involvement in the project has been approved by the estates of both the Abbott brothers. Zakk discussed his participation in the Pantera celebration tour during an appearance on Sunday with Ola, the YouTube program hosted by Ola Englund, the Swedish guitarist, record producer, and owner of Solar Guitars. Regarding how his involvement in the Pantera tribute came about, Zakk said there's always been talks about it for years, especially when Vinny was still alive. And it was just like, well, I'll just wait till that day comes. If you guys decide you want to do it, I'm always going to be here for you. Phil called me up one night and he was just like, Zakk, I was talking with Rex. We're thinking about doing this. We were wondering if you would want to honor Dime. And I was like, of course, man. How could I say no? So now it was just like, all right, well, send me the songs for the set list so I can start learning this stuff, man. Asked if he has already started learning Pantera materials, Zakk said, yeah, of course. I've been working on it for a while now. I had to get a whammy pedal. I never owned one of those things. Grady Champion, who was Dimebag's guitar tech throughout his career with Pantera, will probably be running that thing, the guy who ran it for Dimebag. So yeah, I'm a proud owner of a whammy pedal now. And I've got my Dime guitars, the ones that actually he gave me. I got my rig. Obviously what Dime used that I don't use, obviously, is noise gate. Obviously, if you're going to be doing Hum's Cowboys from Hell main riff, my stuff is just pure lightning all the time. If I'm going to stop, you stop. Dime would have like two distortion pedals on at the same time. I remember in his rig, he goes, Zakk, what pedals do you use? My overdrive pedals. He had one of those things in his board. I go, Dime, it's probably not even panning anything because you've got so much overdrive on there. But for him, there wasn't enough gate. He loved it. And there's an art to controlling it. As for whether there's a particular song or a solo he's especially worried about when it comes to performing it live, Zach said, "To me, it's just like learning Randy Rhoads' stuff to play with Ozzy Osbourne, whether we're doing Mr. Crowley or I Don't Know or anything. To me, it's fun, but whether we're playing Goddamn Electric, that solo's beyond. I mean, all solos are blazing. They're all awesome. It's going to be fun when you're playing Walk and stuff like that, or Cowboys from Hell or anything like that. Some of the other ones that we've got on there, like, I mean, A New Level and stuff like that, those are all cool. I think I may have gone on your website just to see Becoming, watching you play. Any of these things that I got stumped on, I was like, what the hell was that? I would just go how to play, and I'd go on YouTube and just see all these other amazing players playing the stuff. For me, that's the whole thing too. Playing it with the record is one thing, but then you take the record away and it's like, all right, play it for me. It's a guideline. It's like cover by numbers. You know where you're going, or taking the GPS off your car. It's like, all right, do you remember how to get back to Hollywood? You're like, Zach, I have no idea. I was following the GPS the whole time. So if you guys were worried about the number of likes and ums in there, just know that I was quoting Zach on that. So it was, but it's good to know that he is learning the songs, because I know, Jason, you had that story not too long ago about how he hadn't started learning any of the songs yet. Well, apparently that is not the case. So, and to me, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter where you're learning it from. If someone can teach you the songs and it helps you learn them, fucking who cares? Who gives a shit if it's YouTube? I've learned how to fix cars and change out the motor on a washing machine thanks to YouTube. So hey, it's whatever.
When I first read that story and everything, I thought that was kind of odd for somebody that professional to not already be working on it. So it's good, good to know.
It was definitely a little concerning when it was like, yeah, Zach Wild doesn't know how to play the songs yet.
Six weeks out from the show, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, you need to get on it there, Chief. So yeah, that's good to know. But that was that rounded up all the current events news that I had. So
all right, so here's some other headlines that pulled here. So Armored Saint taps Jason McMaster to fill in for an ailing John Bush. So hopefully John gets well and gets back out there with Armored Saint. So, but they definitely got a good replacement, I think. If you don't know Jason McMaster, he was the lead singer for Dangerous Toys back in the day. So. We had David Draymond said Disturbed performances will be getting more and more infrequent, which I don't know how much more infrequent you want to be. Hell, I ain't seen him do nothing but festivals the past couple of years. So,
no shit.
Then, of course, the Ronnie James Dio documentary, Dreamers Never Die, is to receive television premiere next month. So that's cool. But they're actually going to air it on TV now. So
I'm going to watch that when I can.
Yeah, I am too, yeah. Killswitch Engage singer Jesse Leach shares engagement photos on social media. So congrats to Jesse there for being engaged there. So,
yeah.
I guess we'll be looking for weddings coming up pretty soon, probably. So
yes, in the spring, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Then Marilyn Manson claims his career is in the gutter and he's getting death threats since the sexual abuse allegations. You don't say.
Yeah, I was about to say, no shit, right? That's not exactly news.
Lamb of God's Randy Blythe is working on 2 new books. I know I broke the story about him about to release 1, but evidently he's working on 2. So double the pleasure there. So if I get any news about the second one, we'll share that along too. So, Dino Cazares says the new Fear Factory singer is nobody famous. Well, that narrows it down.
It's me.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah,
it's me. Yeah.
Slipknot is still interested in doing a conceptual double album, which I'm on board with that. So, which kind of goes against what Clown said a couple of weeks ago, but they were just going to do singles. So
they were considering.
Evidently, Corey's got a different mindset for that. So
yeah, they were supposedly considering moving away from focusing on LPs. So.
Well, I bet they got enough material to probably do an album now if they, a double album now if they wanted to. Because there was 15 songs that didn't make the last album, the album before this one. So
yeah, just polish the songs you haven't. Just polish the songs that you haven't released and just.
Well, I mean,
make
so
it
there,
a make it a like a call it like a rarities album or some
I,
shit like that. I don't know what. I don't care.
I would say it's going to be their first. I think that would be their first release as an independent because they already recorded their last album with Roadrunner. So I would say that a double album will be a good way to kick off their independent label. So
yeah, I could definitely see it happening.
And then right now you can vote for your favorite record label of 2022. So that's already those voting categories are going to start coming in more frequent now since we're getting toward the end of the year. But
Yeah.
Metal Injection is where that's at if you want to go over there and vote for your favorite record label. And then Biohazard's original lineup reunites for a new album and tour dates. So any Biohazard fans out there may be happy about that one. So,
Yeah.
So pretty cool. But that was the end of the headlines there. So
Nice.
yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. So well, I guess we can bounce on over into some hitting the road here. I seen a pretty good bit of stuff on there. But I didn't write it all down. I just try to contribute a little bit here and let Chris take over. But there was a pretty good bit on there. But I only took down I think 3. Yeah, I only took down 3. So
okay.
Spirit Box After the Burial in Intervals announced a 2023 North America tour, kicking off April 10th at Vancouver, British Columbia at the Commodore Ballroom and ending up on May 10th at the Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Fillmore. After the Burial was one of the bands I seen with Parkway Drive and Killswitch Engage. Man, their bass player is fucking amazing, dude.
That's good.
Then we got August Burns Red announced a 20th anniversary tour with The Devil Wears Prada and Bleed From Within, which would be pretty good show there, which I may wind up going to since it does have a Nashville stop. So, but
it does.
That kicks off February 15th in Silver Spring, Maryland, at the Fillmore. Silver Spring. There's Fillmores everywhere.
There is.
Then need more Fillmores. But
need more, yeah.
Then that ends up on May 12th in Quebec at the Theatre Capitole. And then, of course, like I said, it does pass through Nashville at Marathon Music Works on March 13th. So might be one of the shows I wound up going to earlier in the year. I know I'm already planning on seeing Parkway Drive, so that's going to be probably one of my first one of the year. But all right, then we got Cannibal Corpse announces a European tour with Dark Funeral, Ingested, and Storm Ruler. That kicks off on March 10th in Hengelo, I'm going to say that's Netherlands, NL, at the Metropool. And then April 23rd in Nottingham, Great Britain at Rock City. And then just a little news note here. It says there was a huge financial crisis forcing Moonspell to cancel their European and UK tours. So, unfortunately, if you're a Moonspell fan. Yeah, and I see where Anthrax was actually canceling some more stuff, too, because of the same thing. I was like, damn, they're just running into all kind of logistical issues, man. Like, they've already canceled some European stuff. And I think there was I can't remember what country it was, but I think they were having to cancel some other country stuff, too. So,
well, I mean, these bands are having to be a little more cognizant of the money they spend now, because it's just, if for no other reason than just the cost of fucking fuel to move everything, especially when you're trying to go, when you're trying to go over the ocean.
Yeah, I think the thing with Anthrax is they couldn't find anybody to do it. It's like because like everybody was already busy doing other things, and I think that has
been another problem.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this before too, is where the pandemic happened, and then a lot of these companies couldn't recover from it. So you have less companies that are moving stuff, so that's a problem. And then you got people that just don't want to work like everywhere else, but which is still blows my mind. But
right, it must be nice to not to need to work.
Right? Yeah, so I don't know who's paying your bills.
Nice. I don't need to work. Well, good for you. Oh, and I before I forget, I did pull up something this morning that I forgot to put on my phone, but I had this open in a tab on the computer here. I saw it this morning before the show went on. I just wanted to pass this along real quick. Jimmy Chalfant, the drummer for Kix, had a heart attack during the performance during their performance last night, at the Tally Ho Theater in Leesburg, Virginia, and was carried off the stage. So I haven't. There's nothing in the story about how severe it was, or I mean, it didn't say he died, so I don't think he passed away. This was
No, he
actually
didn't. Yeah, he was.
okay. This was actually his second heart attack. He actually had a heart attack back in 2021. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. If there's any updates on his medical condition. But yeah, I saw that this morning, and I meant to put it on my phone with all my other tabs, but I did not. But before I forget, I just wanted to pass that on to you guys. So.
It says that there's no updates on anything.
Yeah,
so I was just checking for any updates, but
yeah, when there are updates, we'll let you guys know. Yeah. All right, so for hitting the road, as far as my contribution, starting out at the PRP.com as always, While She Sleeps is going to Europe, starting May 3rd, 2023 in Nantes, France at Warehouse, and ending up May 18th in Lille, France at Les Splendid. Dream Theater is going on a European and UK tour starting January 23rd. Of course, this is in 23, of course. In Napoli, Italy at, how the hell do you say that? Palapartenope, I think. And then finishing February 21st in London at the Eventim Apollo. Biohazard is getting back together, as Jason said. They have 3 European and UK reunion tour dates planned for August of next year. That's awfully far out, but yeah, they're going to be in August on August 4th. They're going to be in Chaplinek, Poland at the Poland Rock Festival. August 10th, they're going to be in Jaromir, Czechia at Brutal Assault. August 13th, they're going to be in Catton Park, UK at Bloodstock. And then August 19th, they're going to be in Eindhoven, Netherlands at the Dynamo Metal Fest. So those are 4 festival appearances they have confirmed for 2023 over there in Europe.
Being that far out, you would make you think that they maybe have some plans on doing some American touring.
I would
before that. So
I would think so. Yeah. And then I honestly, I don't know what this band sounds like, but I fucking love their name. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard are going to be going on some residency tour dates in June of next year, and the first one is June 1st through live. June 1st through June 3rd in Grundy County, Tennessee at the Caverns Underground.
Oh wow.
I don't know where that is, but I'm going to look it up.
I've seen some video of shows there, man. It sounds pretty amazing. Like acoustics like that. It's in a cave, so I mean,
yeah. So I'm going to take a look at that because that I think that'll be interesting. And then June 7th and 8th, they're going to be in Morrison, Colorado at Red Rocks Amphitheater. There's going to be an early and a late show on June 8th, so there's 2 shows that day. Then June 11th through the 13th, they're going to be in Chicago, Illinois at the Salt Shed. And then June 16th through 18th, they're going to be in Carnation, Washington at Carnation Farms. So check them out if you guys are in those areas. Then Armed for Apocalypse is going on a tour in December, even though it starts November 30th. November 30th in Crescent City, California at Enoteca, finishing December 17th in Portland, Oregon at the High Watermark. No Nashville date there. Then we have Jungle Rot and Nembutalic going to Australia and New Zealand starting April 12th in Wellington, New Zealand at Valhalla, finishing April 22nd in Brisbane, Australia at the Mansfield Tavern. Sacred Reich and Violence are also going to Australia starting March 6th in Canberra, Australia at Basement, finishing March 11th in Melbourne at Max Watts.
That's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it will. And then let's see what we got going on here. Let me fix a typo real quick. There we go. Let's see. Then we've got Candy and Bib going on a West Coast tour starting January 13th in Cupertino, California at X Bar, finishing January 22nd in Los Angeles at First Street Billiards. Alex is on Fire and Luca Brasi are also going to Australia for 4 dates. The first date is February 17th in Brisbane at Fortitude Music Hall. The last date is February 22nd in Adelaide at Hindley Street Music Hall. Then Gideon for the Fallen Dreams, Orthodox and Guerrilla Warfare going out starting February 9th in Tampa, Florida at the Orpheum, finishing March 18th in Birmingham, Alabama at Zydeco. They will be in Nashville on St. Patrick's Day with the venue yet to be announced. Then Harriet has been added as the opener for Rollo Tomasi and Holy Fawns European and UK tour. That tour starts February 3rd in Antwerp, Belgium at Trix and finishes February 15th in London, UK at the Electric Ballroom. Madball and The World are going on a December U.S. tour starting December 9th in Patchogue, New York at Stereo Garden featuring Life of Agony and finishing December 18th in El Paso, Texas at the Rock House Bar and Grill, but that will be Madball only. No Nashville date there. Defeated Sanity, Malignancy, Prophecy, and Stranglewire are going out starting January 5th in Anaheim, California at Chain Reaction, finishing January 20th in Santa Cruz, California at the Blue Lagoon. No Nashville date there. Then moving over to Blabbermouth, we got a couple announcements there. Theory of a Dead Man, Skillet, and Saint Asonia are going out on the Rock Resurrection Tour starting February 17th in Gary, Indiana at Hard Rock Live, finishing March 26th in Los Angeles, California at the Wiltern. They will be in Nashville March 7th at Brooklyn Bowl. And then lastly, we have Motley Crue and Def Leppard are going to be canceling 2 of their Brazilian shows on their upcoming world tour due to the aforementioned logistical issues. The shows in question are March 9th, 23 in Curitiba, Brazil, and March 11th in Porto Alegre, Brazil. So again, those pesky logistical issues are rearing their ugly head. So,
man, sucks.
But yep, that's hitting the road.
Hey, we get some horns and stuff.
Yeah.
We get one of those boards. I seen that Chris from Zinzak from this Despo Geek had one of the little boards over there where you hit a button.
Yeah, we do need to get one of those.
Yeah, he's got like a pretty good little intros and stuff going on that he's created too, so it's pretty cool.
I've been wanting to get some of those for a while now. So yeah, that would be cool.
Anyway. We'll kick over into this week in metal history, which I only have two stories here. So,
well, I've only got 2. Well, shit. I was going to say 2 pages, but I have 2.5. So,
so the 14th of November 2006, Led Zeppelin were inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame by Roger Taylor of Queen. Jimmy Page personally accepted the reward in front of a 3,000 strong audience during the 3rd annual induction ceremony, which was held at the famed Alexandra Palace in London. It's kind of crazy to think that they only started that in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then November 15th, 1992, Ozzy Osbourne announced his retirement from touring after a gig in California, saying, "Who wants to be touring at 46?" I don't know. What's your answer now at 76?
I was about to say Ozzy would give his left nut to be touring at 46 again. Uh-oh. That's actually Ozzy's answer if you ask him the question now.
Yeah.
Ozzy, we love you, buddy. We promise.
She's trying to get in here. She wants me, I guess. So
yeah, she's not happy about it. All right, so hitting the road for the week of the 12th through the 18th. As always, brought to you guys by Dr. Feelgood and what's that?
History.
Oh, shit. Yeah, sorry. Not hitting the road. Sorry. This week in metal history. Yeah, sorry. Brought to you guys by Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde on Facebook and This Day in Metal on Twitter. Leading off with November 12th of 2002, Opeth releases Deliverance. November 12th of 2007, Hardcore Superstar releases Dreamin' in a Casket. 11/12/91, Voivod releases Angel Rat. Lita Ford releases Dangerous Curves. And Entombed releases Clandestine. 11/13/01, Evergrey releases In Search of Truth, and Angra releases Rebirth. 11/13/20, AC/DC releases Power Up. 11/14/08, Elvin King releases Two Tragedy Poets and a Caravan of Weird Figures, and Ed Guy releases Tinnitus Sanctus. 11/14/94, Bathory releases Requiem. 11/14/95, At the Gates releases Slaughter of the Soul. 11/14 of 90, Crocus releases Stampede. 11/14 of 01, Bolt Thrower releases Honor, Valor, Pride. 11/14 of 05, Bolt Thrower releases Those Once Loyal, and Annihilator releases Schizo Deluxe. 11/14 of 97, Exciter releases The Dark Command. 11/14 of 89, Ministry releases The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, which peaked at 163 on the Billboard 200. 11/15 of 11, Ancient Bards release Soulless Child. 11/15 of 13, Leaves Eyes release Symphonies of the Night. 11/15 of 04, Within Temptation releases The Silent Force. 11/15/82, Whitesnake releases Saints and Sinners. 11/15/83, Ozzy Osbourne releases Bark at the Moon. 11/16/92, Vader releases The Ultimate Incantation. 11/16 of 18, Artillery releases The Face of Fear. 11/16 of 88, Death releases Leprosy. 11/16 of 99, Virgin Steel releases The House of Atreus, Act 1, and Korn releases Issues. 11/17/78, Alice Cooper releases From the Inside. 11/17 of 86, Dark Angel releases Darkness Descends. 11/17 of 17, Cavalera Conspiracy releases Psychosis. 11/17 of 14, In This Moment releases Black Widow, which debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200. 11/18 of 91, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts release I Love Rock and Roll. 11/18 of 02, Bathory releases Nordland 1, and Amon Amarth releases Versus the World. 11/18 of 96, Cradle of Filth releases Dusk and Her Embrace. 11/18 of 11, Iron Savior releases The Landing. 11/18 of 08, Enforcer releases Into the Night, and Mudvayne releases The New Game, which peaked at number 15 on the Billboard 200. 11/18 of 97, Metallica releases Reload. 11/18 of 2016, Metallica releases Hardwired to Self-Destruct. 6 a.m. releases Prayers for the Blessed Volume 2. And lastly, 11/18 of 88, Manowar releases Kings of Metal. So that is This Week in Metal History for the 12th through the 18th.
Nice. I was actually looking up, I seen like a Avatar put out a thing where you can pre-order, I guess, their new album on November 25th. But I don't think it had a release date. I was trying to see what the release date was. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen one, but I know it's definitely in the works. But yeah, I hadn't seen where it's coming out. So
yeah, well, maybe we'll get some more insight on it next week, since it's supposed to be able to pre-order on the 25th. So
yeah.
So hopefully,
I mean,
hopefully it's like first of the year next year, but because I got a hard enough time.
Nice.
I already got a hard enough time picking 10 for this year. I don't need no more.
Dude, I was actually thinking about that last night on the way back from Dixon, and I was kind of, because it's like a 50-minute drive from Dixon to here. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I had plenty of time to to just think about shit. And I was listening to some more new music that we'll get to in a minute, and I started going over it in my head. If I had to put, this year's top 10 together right now, what would I do? And I was just trying to go off the top of my head, trying to remember just the amount of albums I've listened to this year. And I was like, I can't even fucking remember them all.
Yeah.
So it's I couldn't put together a top 10 for 22 right now if I had to. Thank God I still have 6 weeks to do that. So it's gonna be fun yet difficult at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a top 3 or 4 pretty much set up, but yeah, after that it's kind of I don't know, man. It's gonna be kind of hard, but.
Yeah, I was pretty much able to come up with a top 5, but the entire top 10, I was like, oh boy, that's gonna be rough, in a good way, because I mean we've had that just goes to show how much great music has come out this year, and it really has.
And plus we've gotten 10 times what we're used to from
Heavy Music HQ. Yeah, I know.
Heavy Music HQ, so. Yeah,
we've got anywhere from probably 40 to 60 new albums that we get to choose from every week now. Yeah. Instead of 10 to 15.
Yeah. I guess we can kick off into our top metal songs of the week. I guess we changed that up a little bit because we never do 10. So
yeah, well, we're gonna have to officially change it to like the theme of the week or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do that.
Yeah, we could do that. So,
yeah, theme of the week.
Yeah, so top metal songs of this week. The theme was games. So I kind of went about 20 different directions with this one. So
oh yeah, me too. Me too.
And I'm sure, like, I would actually be surprised if we didn't have some crossovers in this one. But
yeah.
So I'll start this one off here, I guess. So,
all right.
Of course, you can't start it off without having The Game by Motorhead from Hammer 2002. Then I went with Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, of course, from the game Operation. That's
nice.
That's from Operation Mindcrime, 1988. Nice. Then I went with Nonpoint, Back in the Game from the Ruthless EP in 2021. Then I went with Lamb of God, Checkmate. Of course, that's a term for chess from Lamb of God 2020. Then I went with Machine Head, Game Over from Bloodstone and Diamonds in 2014. Then I went with so kind of switched gears here and went with Xbox and PlayStation games. So
there you go.
So went with Soil Halo from Scars 2011.
That's a great song too.
Yeah, and then I went with Mushroom Head Solitaire. Of course, that's a card game. Unraveling from M3 of 1999. Then I went with Megadeth 44 Minutes from the album Endgame 2009.
Nice.
Then I went with Scorpions Passion Rules the Game from Savage Amusement 1988. Then I went with Halloween Wicked Game from My God Given Right in 2015. And then I went with Lost Society's Game Over from Terror Hungry 2014. Then I went with Avenged Sevenfold Carry On. That was actually from the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 game in 2012. Recorded
specifically for that game.
Yes, it was. And then actually the only other album it's on is on a compilation album of Avenged Sevenfold, kind of like a B-sides album, I think.
Yep.
So, and then last but not least, I took Death Angel Left for Dead, which is also a video game. So
nice.
The Dream Calls for Blood 2013. So
very,
that was my contribution. I think I had like 14 or 15 there. So
yeah, I ended up with 14 too. But I mean, we don't have to worry about that anymore. We've officially changed the format of the segment. So
yeah.
All right. So my contribution I still have it labeled as top 10, but obviously that won't matter anymore. But leading off with one from a band that I discovered a couple weeks ago, and a lot of their stuff I've really, really enjoyed. I went with the song Hazardous Game by Anguish Force off of their album Otswang from 2012. Then I also went with Wicked Game by Halloween from My God-Given Right of 2015. Then I went with Win Hands Down by Armored Saint off the album of the same name from 2015. Then I had The Game by Disturbed off The Sickness from 2000. I also had Game Over by Machine Head, Bloodstone and Diamonds of 2014. Then I went with Heads They Win, Tails You Lose by Exodus off of Impact is Imminent from 1990. What are you doing, Kat? Then I went with Victory by Megadeth off of Euthanasia from 1994. You trying to come up here? Huh? What you doing? Trying to go up here? And then I went with Headless Game by Ed Guy off of Theater of Salvation from 1999. Then I went with The Number Game by Testament off of Brotherhood of the Snake from 2016. Then I went with Play the Ace by Overkill off of Relics IV. I'm not even 100% sure if I pronounced that album cover right. It's like, I think it was their 14th album. So it's like Relic with XIV, so I don't know. Anyway, the album came out in 2005. Then, of course, those are my 10. But like I said, then I went with Power Play by Onslaught off of In Search of Sanity from 1989. Then I went with Can I Play with Madness by Iron Maiden off of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son from 1988. Then I went with Onward to Victory by Hammer King off of their self-titled album from last year. Then I went, last but definitely not least, I went with a song from one of our new friends from the Knoxville show. I went with Song of Victory by Offensive from their album Awe Nasa from 2021. So,
all right.
So there we go. That's our theme of the week. I think I actually like that better. The theme of the week.
Yeah. All right, I guess we will kick into our album review segment now. I only got through one this week, so
wow.
Yeah,
I did 4. I actually did 4.
Well, I never went anywhere, so
yeah. I was gonna say driving back and forth. Driving back and forth to Dixon, that helps. So,
yeah. So we actually decided to do all of our running yesterday, so I didn't really get to, we was in and out of the car, so I didn't really get to stay in it for a long period of time. But I probably will check some stuff out on the way because I'm going to Murfreesboro today. So one of our friends, one of my friends, and members of the Metalheads Unite page, Shelly Johnson, has a birthday.
It's Shelly's birthday today. That's
yeah.
Did you?
I don't remember if it was.
You didn't shout her out.
I know. I just never remembered. So
that's all right. I'll let.
Actually, her. I think her birthday was the 15th. Actually, so
okay.
we're actually going out with her today to celebrate her birthday. So
yeah.
Of course, we got a big birthday next week. So if I don't mention that one, I will be in trouble. But anyway, so I only got through the one. I actually picked a Kill Ritual. And this is a crazy ass name for an album, but it's Kill Star, Black Mark, Dead Hand, Pierced Heart.
I remember that one. Yep.
I was like, wow, that's a mouthful there. But anyway, they were formed from San Jose, California. They were formed in 2010. They are a thrash metal band, so kind of fit right in with what we like. So current members are David Alusic. I think it's Alusic, bassist Steve Rice on guitars, Seamus Gleason on drums, and Chalice Blood on vocals.
Nice.
I doubt that's their real name.
Well, you mean someone wouldn't name their kid Chalice Blood? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, you never know these days.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh man, but. This is surprising. So I'm actually going to go back. The lead vocalist has only been there since 2019. So I'm kind of curious of what the older stuff sounds like because this is their 6th album. So
wow, really? 6 albums? Okay.
Yeah, they was putting them out. I think they had like one 13, 14, and 15. They put one like year to year to year.
Oh shit!
So they was putting them out pretty regular there for a while. So
doing the old trivium, yeah.
Yeah, doing old trivium, yeah. I know you posted that video, and I didn't catch it was from Court of the Dragon until afterward. I was like, man,
that's fine.
Yeah, they're going to wind up, which I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have an album next year.
It wouldn't. Same. Wouldn't surprise me either.
So anyway, this is the band's 6th full-length album, 9 songs, 48 minutes, 11 seconds. I mean, this really got the old school metal feel because you had like a 7-minute song on there, and then you had some 4 3-minute songs on it. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it kind of like. It kind of varied, but you definitely had the old school thrash feel of the longer songs, and it wasn't like a long introduction. And you had like 30 seconds, and then they were singing. So I mean, it wasn't no waste of time in that 7 minutes for sure. But so I really got an old school Priest Maiden type vibe from a lot of it. Man, it's like
nothing wrong with that.
I even like before I looked up any of the band members. I mean, it's like, damn, is Ripper Owens have a new project? I mean, goddamn. It sounded a lot like him, dude. I'm just like, wow, this sounded a lot like Owens.
And it sounds like something he would do.
Well, true, yeah.
Need a singer? Yeah, I'll sing.
I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
What, Max Cavalera wasn't available? Okay.
Is Mike Portnoy the drummer?
Yeah, right. But anyway, the guitars in this, man, I can't say that, but holy shit. Like, dude, it was nice. So fucking good. Like, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stuff like you just hear in an album and it just sticks out. And I think the guitars in this album was just one of those things that just stuck out because it was so good. But the vocalist definitely had a lot of range, very diverse to great screams and cleans. It wasn't really any gutturals there because it's a thrash album,
Right.
but definitely had a good range from the cleans and screams. So, and he had that like he carried that voice just like Ripper Owens did when he's kind of like from Burning Hell.
Oh yeah.
Hell.
Yeah.
He was carrying that shit, dude. It was like, man, I loved it.
Yeah.
The drumming was exceptional too, man. Like, I think you could this was one of those albums where you could definitely hear the distinctive parts in every song. Like something different stuck out in every song, which was good.
I like that.
Yeah, and they even had like a little ballady song like stuck in the middle of it, which was great too because it was almost like a fade to black type,
There you go.
ballady song. It wasn't like anything you would say you would really link to ballad. You know what I mean? Cause,
They just changed the tempo. That's all.
Right.
But it was a slower tempo, but still a heavy.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
Slow but heavy. Yeah, I got you.
Like I said, I think the album flowed really well. Because I think it kind of like it came off in your face, and then it kind of tapered off right there in the middle, and then it came right back at you. So it was kind of like a real good. Yeah, it was a real good dip in there. Wasn't all one dimensional album. Which nothing
That's
wrong with
nice.
it. It's like nothing wrong with one dimensional records. I don't mind like being all heavy or anything like that. But I'm just saying like it was really a nice little flow there. So
sure, yeah.
And of course thrash it's thrash, so we may be a little partial, but
yeah, we are. We've made no bones about that. So
yeah, but so. This might surprise you, but I'm giving it 4.5 horns. So
4.5. All right, there we go. We have a contender.
Yes, we do. So
in November, damn it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So just when you think you have it figured out, we throw another album at you. So.
Yeah, what is that? What does Street Fighter always say? A new challenger has entered the arena.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad. I'm definitely going to probably check that one out next because, like I say, I did actually make it through 4 albums this week. My formal write-up was on the new album Beyond the Gates of Hell by Rising Steel. They are a heavy metal band that was formed in Grenoble, France in 2012, so that's kind of cool. A little more European representation here. Let's see, it didn't have their lyrical themes listed. Let's see, their current lineup consists of Steel Zard on drums, Tony Riffman on guitars, Emmanuelson on vocals, Flo Dust on bass, and Stefan Rabiud on guitars. So I have a feeling those are some stage names too, but hey, you never know.
No.
Yeah. And then let's see, this is their 3rd full-length album. Their debut album, Return of the Warlord, came out in 2016, Fight Them All in 2020, and the new one came out yesterday. So, not too bad, 16, 20, 21, a relatively decent pace.
Yeah.
This album was 10 tracks long, 45 minutes and 32 seconds, so not a bad listen. And this is another one of those just straight, one of those no nonsense forward heavy metal albums, kind of like the one I reviewed last week, the Blinding Force by Incursion. Really kind of just a prototypical classic heavy metal album that kind of relies on the riffs and hooks and the chorus. The thunderous drums and stuff like that. The vocals were really powerful. I'm going to have to knock this one for a shitty mix. The strange thing about it is we've mentioned before on the show about how, albums don't get mixed correctly. And when it comes out, it sounds like the singer is singing into a coffee can, or it sounds like he's in the back of the room while, everyone's playing in the front of the room. The messed up thing about it is that's how the album started, but that's not how it finished, which I thought is weird because every time we've talked about it, it lasts throughout the entire album. Well, this one didn't. So
those songs were recorded that way on purpose. So.
It may have been, but it was kind of a distraction because the first 3 or 4 tracks I was listening to it in the truck, and I was like trying to pick out because I mean, there are no aggressive vocals in the entire album. There, it's just like last week's album. There's nothing but clean vocals straight through. But at the same time, I was like, I can't hear what the fuck he's saying. So if it was done on purpose, they shouldn't have done it, because I was having a hard time understanding him. And he's got one hell of a voice. He's got that powerful kind of Dickinson, Dirk Schneider.
Right.
Not quite Halford voice, because he doesn't have the top end. He doesn't have the top end range that Rob Halford did back in the day. But he's got the prototypical, he's got the prototypical metal voice. And then when you pull it back a little more into the background behind the instruments, it gets lost a little bit. So I was like, I hope this isn't the way the entire album goes. And thankfully it wasn't. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this album. I hope I get to listen to the other two. I hope I have time. I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5 horns, just because of the way the album started. But it's definitely worth a listen. It absolutely is. And then the second album I listened to Here at the Ashram by that band Laces Out.
Yeah.
And I have to make it myself a mental note that I don't need to listen to the songs by this band, even though they have a cool band name and I love their album titles. But this is not a metal band at all. It's not a metal band. They're like an indie punk band, and it's just not. It doesn't do it for me. I listened to the whole thing. It was like 9 tracks and just a shade under 30 minutes. So it was a quick listen.
Yeah.
Thankfully I was able to knock it out on my way up to Dixon. But yeah, I'm not gonna rate it, because it's not fair to, because it's not a heavy metal album.
Right.
But then I listened to the new Disturbed, their new album Divisive. I listened to that. This one,
I'm actually about halfway through that, so I haven't really got the whole thing in yet. So
yeah, this one is a little bit more of a return to like the classic Disturbed,
right.
But it's still diverse enough, kind of like Evolution was, to not kind of come off as the shit that they started, the one-dimensional that they started getting pigeonholed for. So I did enjoy this one. Like I say, there was enough diversity and enough of
not a bunch of crazy jungle noises.
No. I think there was only like 2 songs where I noticed where he just did the row kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he doesn't really do that much anymore, because he's trying to save his throat, because he had vocal cord polyps not too long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still enough of a, there are still enough tempo changes and enough rhythm changes. And I think David Draymond is trying to, not for no pun intended, because of the last album title, I think he's trying to evolve his vocal style a little bit more, so he's not so one-dimensional. And Dan Donegan seems to kind of improve as a guitar player on every album, which seems kind of strange to say it at this point,
right?
With this late in their career, but I seem to kind of notice it. And then the bass, John Moyer, he's still a great bass player. Mike Wengren, he's a good drummer. So really no complaints with any of that stuff. I don't want to give too much away, because you're only halfway through the album, but there is a collaboration on the second half of the album that was interesting. Wasn't really it wasn't particularly heavy, but it wasn't ballady at the same time. They just kind of pulled it back a little bit. So it was kind of like you couldn't call it a ballad, but it's not. It's kind of in that gray area where they basically just slowed the tempo down a little bit. And that was actually their first collaboration that they've ever done.
With Hart and Wilson.
Okay. Yeah. That one. So that was actually their first collaboration that they've ever done. Cause that song that David Draymond did with Lizzie Hale was actually when he was in Device. So that doesn't count. So this is actually Disturbed's first official collaboration. So it actually turned out okay. I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5. Like I say, it's it's enough classic Disturbed and newer Disturbed to be diverse enough to where it's not like, this is just 10,000 Fists again. No, that's not. That's not the case here. So I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5. And then the last album that I listened to the new album 7 Words by a band called Zentrix. And I've actually heard of this band before. And this is one of those instances where I feel ashamed that this is the first time I've ever listened to Zentrix, because this is another one of those cases, I think, where it's a little bit of an onslaught and rage situation, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
A band that's been around for a while that I know the name of, but I never actually listened to their stuff. So I listened to it last night and I was like, what the fuck? I mean, in the best way, in the absolute best way. It was a phenomenal album. I'm going to give it 4 horns out of 5. Excuse me. And I am absolutely gonna backtrack and listen to more of Zentrix's stuff. And Jason, if you got Murfreesboro today, I know you said you have to listen to the rest of the Disturbed album, but I would recommend that when you finish the Disturbed album, because that Murfreesboro isn't exactly close by, but
right.
So when you finish that album, Disturbed album, I would recommend listening to the new Zentrix album. I'm looking them up now because I didn't get a chance to last night. They are actually from Preston, England, in the UK. They are a thrash metal band. This is actually their 6th album. They've been around since 1988. Wow. So they've had some they had a 13-year hiatus between 96 and 2019. But when they were formed in 1988, and they actually had 4 albums at a pretty good clip, 89, 90, 92, and 96. And then they went on a hiatus for 13 years. And then in 2019, they came out with Bury the Pain, and then obviously the new album Yesterday. But I was very, very impressed. I was like, and I felt bad because damn it, this is another onslaught situation, a band that I know has been around for a long time that I never took the time to listen to. So I was kind of kicking myself for that. The only other weird thing is this new album was on the new release list for Yesterday, but when I was listening to
it was back, like
it was on it had excuse me, Spotify had it listed that it came out on November 4th.
Yeah, okay.
So
I seen a couple albums like that because I was looking through it and I was listening to stuff and I was like, one of them said September on it, and I was like, wow, why is I just now seeing it just got released in? So I'm not sure.
So it is still, I mean, it was released 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, and then, like I say, their music is new to me, even though I know what the band. So I would say it definitely still counts because it is their latest album. So, but yeah, I would highly suggest 7 Words by Zentrix.
All right, check that out.
Yeah, I would check that out next, and I'm definitely going to listen to this new Kill Ritual. I want to hear that. So
and I actually got to get in the Wolves at the Gate EP too. So I want to check that out too because I like that band.
So yeah, that was so those were the albums that I was able to get through this week. So overall, I mean, I would say definitely another pretty good week. I mean, like I say, regardless of that other album. But like I say, Laces Out and Here at the Ashram, I mean, just if nothing else, they're worth the album titles because they got that shout out to Ace Ventura, the Ace Ventura movies by Jim Carrey. So that's awesome. So as far as this coming Friday, November 25th, leading off, we've got All the Sky with A World Divided. That is an EP. Alienator with Regrets. Anomaly with Somewhere Within the Pines. Bad Sister with Where Will You Go? Bernie Torme with Final Fling. Black Beast with Arctic Darkness. Black Lava with Soul Furnace. Black Paisley with Human Nature. And
Black Wheat.
And Black Rain with Untamed. We have Carnal Savagery with Worm Eaten. Carnivora with Petrichor. Celtic Frost with Dance Macabre. That is a box set. Chernobyl Jazz Club with Grimulost. Seminero with Shadows Digging the Grave. Circles with the Stories We Are Afraid Of, Volume 1, that is an EP. Crown of Ascension with Transmission Errors. Dark Matter with The Rectory. Deep Scuffa with Beyond a Dying Horizon. Depressive Witches with Distant Kingdoms. Der Trauerschwan with Sanguinaire Vampirus. Detractor with Full Body Stomp. Diverted Disorder with Technical Difficulties. We have Jevel with Naskrider Natten Sort. Not exactly sure what language that is. Echo with Witnesses. Estrangement with Disfigure Mentality. Have Euphrosyne with Karis. Extirpation with The Endless Storm. That is an EP. Finnegan's Hell with One Finger Salute. We have Forgjord with Rumis Sarna Part 1. Generation Landslide with Ruling the Street Scene. Genghis Nash with The Odyssey. That's an EP. We have Gandhawa with Manthagori. That's an EP. Grave with a View with a self-titled EP. Grim Justice with Justice in the Night. We have Heion with Imago. Hibernus Mortis with The Monoliths of Cursed Slumber. High Command with Eclipse of the Dual Moons. Howler with Descendants of Evil. I'll Be Damned with Culture. Induction with Born of Fire. In the Woods with Diversum. Jade with The Pacification of Death. Jaded Truth with Take a Seat. We have Yord Show with Yord Sessions. That's a re-release. Judicator with The Majesty of Decay. The Kaleido Sound Project with Into the Unknown. That's an EP. Karg with Resignation. Catapult with Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes. Nim with When a Star Falls. The Last 10 Seconds Disquisition of an Execution. That is also an EP. League of Distortion with a self-titled album. Leather with We Are the Chosen. Lee Aaron with Elevate. Liata Soul with Worse. Lower Automation with Strobe Light Shadow Play. Lucifericon with The Warlock of Doth. Lycotonon with Promethean Pathology. Maceration with It Never Ends. Mollis Dextra with 3, Part 1. That is an EP. Melted Bodies with The Inevitable Folk, Volume 1. That is an EP. It's like EP week this week. Monolith with Cosmodrome. Morgan Reed with Terran. Mother Anxiety with Guillotine Age. Mycelium with Mycoticism. Nazgor with Seventh Secular Crusade. Neptunian Maximalism with Finis Gloriae Mundi. Oceans with Hell is Where the Heart Is. Off-Drika with After the Storm. Ophermod with Ophermodian Litanies. That's an EP. Orphique with Consecration Cadaverique. Our Mirage with Eclipse. Pincer with Hunting God Tapes Volume 1. Violence. That is an EP. Pursuit with Loose Lips. Renouse with Luciferi. The Riven with Peace and Conflict. Rocky and the Swedes / Boris with a split album. Sasta with Crucial to None. Sci-Fi Scientist with SARS Attacks. That's funny. Sepulchre with Cursed Ways of Sheol. This is an EP. She Said Destroy with Bleeding Fiction 2. Child of Tomorrow. That's an EP. Spirit World with Death Western. Status Quo with Quoing In, The Best of the Naughties. Stones of Babylon with Ishtar Gate. Sunshine and Lollipops, The 8 Circuits of Unconsciousness. Sword with 3. We have Cornobog and Abyssal with a split EP. Terror Hammer with Gateways to Hades. We have Thy Catafalque with Mesolith live at Fakite Zaj. Torture Squad with Tortura and La Iglesia en Vivo. Toxic Youth, Back to Youth. That's a re-release. Typo Negative with Dead Again. That's obviously a re-release. Altar with At the Gates of Dusk. Venjure at Parfou et Parflamme. Whirlwind with 1714. Witchmaster with Kazan. And The Wolves of Avalon with E. Gododin. So yeah. Another one of those super duper long lists, and like I said, quite a lot of EPs to choose from. So
yeah, well, I mean, it might be a good thing because
it might be
gotten a lot of EP listens in this year. So
I honestly haven't either, which is kind of like it's definitely on me. I should have listened to a few more of them. I've been focusing on LPs though.
Yeah, I try to like split it, try to get an EP and an LP in every week, but not always the case. So
yeah, right.
So, all right. So,
yeah.
Busy week next week for us, at least. So, if you don't know yet, Hidden Intent, a band out of Australia, is supposed to be on the show with us next Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, our time. Hopefully, so far nothing's changed that. So if anything does, we will definitely let you guys know if we can. So, and then of course we'll have our regular show next Saturday. So we'll have to have a pretty busy week of doing some research. So,
Yep.
And then we do want to tell you we have so we do have 3 guests in 3 weeks. So just so you guys are following, so we're going to be guest heavy for the next couple of weeks. So which is not the
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that on our part. We definitely invite that all the time. So so pretty cool to be chatting with a few new bands and hopefully turn you guys on to some new music. So
oh yeah.
So that's always our purpose here is to turn some new music on to you guys. So so looking forward to that next Friday, and then of course the next 2 we're looking forward to as well. But we'll announce that stuff as we get closer to it. So I don't want to jinx anything. So.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Definitely always a fluid situation until it's not. Yeah.
Right. So, but we want to just appreciate you guys tuning in today. And like I said, if you missed any of our past episodes of interviews, Hexed and was just here the most recent one. So if you miss any of that, you can always go over to our YouTube channel there and watch any of that over there. So.
Yep.
So pretty cool. So,
yep.
And
definitely looking forward to talking to the guys from Hidden Intent again. We met them at the end of September after their show in Knoxville on the Angelus Apatrida tour. Really, really nice guys, really funny. So looking to be able to sit down and chat with them and just see what they're up to, and because they've been traipsing around Australia since they got home, and like to hear their recap of the North American tour and all that stuff too. So looking forward to talking to them. So,
and then again, if you guys missed the Decibel Geek podcast last night, you can also catch that over at the Decibel Geek TV. Over at YouTube. I was a guest on there last night. We had a pretty good time on there. So it's pretty cool to be on different shows and see their different formats of how they do things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We had a little show. We had a little show and tell and all that kind of stuff. So I had to bring out some stuff too. So, which is cool. Like I think that may be something we should do every once in a while on here. So.
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah,
get some new stuff, show it off a little bit, I guess. But so, anyway,
and shout out to like I say, we want to give another shout out to our friend Vic, who's going to be doing another live stream that I'm sure he'll be more than happy to let us share. But check out his Facebook group, Rockin' Heavy, and then. Of course, another massive shout out to our friend William Savant of Sepsis for stopping by.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Always good to hear from William. Yeah. Always good.
We know how to bring up a topic to reel him in, so
we kind of do. I could kind of see him doing this right here. I got something for him.
Yeah. So you don't want me to come on your damn show? I'll take it over.
Actually, we kind of do. It's fine.
Yeah,
say it's no problem.
Like
at all.
He's very knowledgeable about what he the business side of things. So I think a lot more people need to be that way. And like Vinny was the same way. Vinny Carrion, when we were talking with him, he like I never thought about some of the things that he was talking about. I was like, man, that's crazy. That's actually makes fucking sense. Like, why is not more people doing that?
But, well, I mean, Well, I mean, we don't have that perspective, because
That's true.
we're on the opposite side of it. That's why that's another reason why it's always great to be able to sit down and talk to these guys, because not only are they they're down to earth and they're nice and they're metal fans like we are, but they have the other side of the other side of the aisle as far as the whole circle.
And I think it's cool to hear that from firsthand people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not hearing it through Loudwire, distributing something out, which could be true, but also they have to twist and stuff to make it worth you listening, reading it, So I mean, that's how they make their clicks, is how they make their money. So
yeah.
And we don't get paid, so you just click away over here. We don't care. So.
Right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine.
You can also catch us on, like I said, TikTok and YouTube and
TikTok,
Twitch,
Twitter. Well, Twitter, as long as in Twitter, unless it shuts down in the next couple of weeks.
I think all that's crap anyway.
Yeah, I know, I do too.
I see so many comments on it. It's hilarious too, because most people are like, "I'll take things that didn't happen for 500, Alex." That's what everybody was like commenting under some of that stuff. I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty funny."
Yeah, I was being facetious, but anyway.
Well,
but
the thing is with Twitter is the people that are bitching about it are still on Twitter.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, of course they are.
It's like if you're so that upset with it, don't be on Twitter, that motherfucker.
Yeah, not to get too political, but it's also like the same thing. Like, if so and so gets elected, I'm moving. You're not. You're
not going anywhere. I wish I could move sometimes. But,
yeah, you're not doing it. But just a bunch of blowhards. But anyway, you can catch us. You can catch us there. And then, VOPUSARadio.com, of course, the VOP USA Radio app. You can get a hold of us at all the socials, of course, that we got going on now. But then also Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com. So
and the newly developed Patreon, which I haven't done much with that yet. But
it's still in development, so it's going to be it's up and it's out there. Oh, and I mean the fundraiser is still going on over at GoFundMe. If you search for Metalheads Unite, it's still active. And
I didn't do at the end this week. Oh my God, I'm so horrible at this announcing.
What did you not do?
I didn't share it on the playlist.
Oh yeah. But anyway, the playlist that he's talking about, if anybody wants to listen to any of those, you can go and search for Metalheads Unite on Spotify, and we have, I don't even know how many playlists we have. It's got, you figure, I figure it's got to be, I figure by now it's got to be at least 100 playlists that we
probably.
made, so. But we enjoy making them. We enjoy listening to them, and we hope you guys do too. Oh, speaking of which, before I forget, we actually had on last week's playlist, we actually had our first song editions.
Oh yeah,
by one of our friends, and I want to give him a shout out real quick. Hold on, go to my library. Yep, let's see, fighting. Yes, we had. Who did we have? Hang on a second. Who was our contributor here? By Jesus Benitez. Who is one of our new Latin American fans here at Metalheads Unite. Okay. So we want to give him a shout out. He is the first person who has actually added songs to the weekly, not the weekly playlist, the theme of the week playlist. Mm-hmm. The only thing I will say, and Jesus, I appreciate your contribution. The only thing I will say is that if you guys are going to contribute songs to the theme of the week playlist, please make sure the songs are in keeping with the theme. So that's the only thing. Other than that, Jesus, absolutely no problem at all with the contributions. We appreciate it greatly. So but like I said, if you guys want to contribute to the theme of the week playlist, the first one here, was this your weekly one?
That's the weekly one. Yes.
All right. There's the weekly one. So if you want to contribute to the theme of the week playlist, you're more than welcome to do so. But like I say, keep it within the theme. Right. This week's theme is going to be games. We will get the playlist compiled, collaborated on, and posted hopefully by the end of the weekend. And then you guys will have that open period of time to make any contributions you wish to. So, and then there is fighting from last week. So, but yeah, that should take care of it.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll wrap this one up, and I apologize for not having that out sooner. I had it pulled up to do it when I mentioned it earlier, and I don't know what I got tired of doing something else, but anyway,
we went off the rails.
exactly,
like we do
on a crazy train. So
that's right.
Anyway, we appreciate you guys for stopping in with us today. Tune in next Friday, right after Thanksgiving. So Black Friday special.
That's right.
We will be sitting down with the band Hidden Intent from Australia, and then we will have our regular show also Saturday morning next week as well. So busy week for us. So,
busy.
So then the next 2 weeks we'll kind of get a break from some of it because we'll have bands on, so we don't have to do so much research. But
that's right. Yeah,
mostly on the bands. So, so all right. So other than that, we will wrap this up, and we will hopefully see you back here next week, Friday or Saturday or both. Hopefully both. Yeah. So until then, you guys keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can. See you
guys next week. Have a great week, you guys. Thank you very much.